Hey everybody, welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host for tonight's festivities, Rockin Robbie Billups, and it is time for the monthly comic book review. It's the show where me and an esteemed group of comic book enthusiasts and YouTubers gather together to talk about our favorite comic books of the month, with some slight spoilage maybe, but for the most part, you're going to come out of this show with a bunch of books that you're going to want to buy, and most of them you will not have to hunt down on the aftermarket for 30 to 50 bucks. Don't worry, y'all. We got you, including my man. It's Nick from Comic Culture. What's up, homie?
What's going on, man? I mean, some of these books might be 30 or 40 bucks on Thursday morning. That's freaking ridiculous, man.
Only the ones that we ourselves have hoarded back that we got ready to upload onto eBay after tonight's show, right?
Oh yeah, short boxes worth, guys. Yeah, we're a bunch of assholes for sure. We did that.
Speaking of assholes, it's 9-Panel Grid. What's up, Eric?
Not too much, man. Good to be here with y'all, influencing the markets amongst all the influencers in the comic book arena here. Let's drive up some prices, guys. Let's do this. I want to get rich. I'm in the mood for it.
Heck yeah, man. This next guy influences so much, including what people buy, what people read, what people watch, hell, what people eat. It's our man Stu from Dr. Doom's Fan Club.
What is up, guys? What is up? Yeah, I think we do have a part to play in the Sorted Crisis events, though. Like going through the roof here recently.
Sure.
I think that's definitely our hard work and recommendations.
I agree. I agree with that. I really do. Yeah, right.
Thanks.
And I think it's up to me and our next panelist as to the reason why Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre has blown up. Probably because they only made like 2,500 copies or something. It's a Mad Cave book, but it's Greg from Bearded Comic Bro. What's up, homie?
Listen, gang, I'm so excited. Like, this is the one time a book I recommended for the past 6 years finally blew up before. So in 6 more years, listen, there'll be another book that'll pop up, but you can take some time off the next couple years because nothing I recommend will blow up between then.
Nice. I loved that book. I'm sure it's going to be one of the books out of many that we talk about tonight. Lots of craziness happened in the month of February. First of all, I think Marvel kind of turned a little bit of a corner on some of their books, and I'm starting to get more engaged and intrigued by some Marvel comics. None of them are X-Men books. Well, Storm, but I don't consider Storm an X book because it's just a solo book. Storm's pretty dope, right? And the first issue of Cyclops was all right. And honestly, I'm kind of a mark for Psylocke and Elektra, so that book could be complete horseshit, and I would still read it. But luckily, it's only half horseshit. But anyway,
is this your way to shill for Marvel without having to get points for shilling
like
for Marvel?
Backhanded compliments.
Yeah, I'm counting that. Hold on.
That's a mark.
All right, yeah, you're on
the scoreboard. There you go.
It's not half bad. It's
you
all
made
bad.
the list.
Yeah, you're on the ledger, bub.
A lot of crazy stuff with some random indie books kind of popping off. And I've seen some interesting things out there. And one of the most, I think, astute and intelligent looks at this kind of goes back to after New 52 happened in 2011. New 52, for whatever most people think about it after the fact, and that could be a whole discussion in and of itself, New 52 generated some excitement in its first year, right? And then about 2 years after that, you had like an Image renaissance, right? Like a re-renaissance of Image with Saga, Fatale, East of West, Manhattan Projects. Before that, Image had some great books, but it wasn't quite the Image we know today. So it's almost like something happens that is exciting at DC or Marvel, and it brings people in, and then they want to read more, because that's the job of comic book reviewers and comic book retailers, is to get people who like one thing to understand that they like something else, right? Maybe we're seeing something like that happen, but now that we're in it, y'all, I guarantee for the next 6 weeks at least, there's going to be one random issue number one. It's going to pop for nothing based on sole fact that it's under ordered. Next week is Nectar number one. That's already selling above cover. Which is ridiculous. Nobody even knows.
This is crazy. This trend is wild.
No.
I realize
it could be worse though. I'm glad it's like random Image number one's getting the love and the spotlight. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I vividly remember this at the shop back in those days. After like Fatale and Saga and East of West, and Saga was like the big one of that moment. Yeah. When that book popped and other books around it popped, I had plenty of subs just being like, give me every Image #1. That's starting to happen again. And is it a coincidence that it happens after the success of lines like the Energon universe and the Absolute universe, right?
Right.
We'll be discussing some of these books tonight. I just realized we're now up to like 70 degrees in Huntsville, and I still got my heat on. I'm freaking burning up. So let's go ahead and get started while I go turn on my air conditioning. And we're going to do something different. We're going to go backwards because Greg, to reward you as finally graduating to a true influencer, we're going to let you go first, and we're going to go backwards tonight. See if I mess that up at some point later in the show. So, Greg, why don't you kick us off with your pick of the month?
Ooh, I was not ready for this. So this is exciting. So you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go with Vertigo book, The Peril of the Brutal.
Oh yes.
The Ezra Kane Mystery, Chris Condon, Jacob Phillips on the art. When I knew this book was coming out, I was already hooked. I love that Texas Blood, and to have them both back on this, like on a book together, and it's a private investigator who has a background in archaeology. I was like, sign me up. And it hit the right beats for me. It is it's a great kind of noir vibe style book. I get those vibes of like the Criminal and those types, just because of the art of Sean Jacob, them being related, like you see those moments and things like that. So like is this a start of a new creative duo that just like continues to put out book after book? So the whole concept for me, it feels like this is one that just would have been in the Vertigo line back in the day, and I feel like we haven't gotten that completely yet with some, but this one it just worked for me really well. And man, it was so good.
Man, you really weren't ready, were you?
I was
like,
not.
You thought you were like,
I was not. I hadn't had time to process my things. Like you threw me for a loop, but I'm okay with it. I'm here. I'm ready. It was everything I wanted from that book when I heard it was announced.
Yeah. I loved it. I absolutely thought it was amazing. It was a contender for my pick of the week. In fact, out of the recent Vertigo relaunches, of which we've only had 3 #1 so far, I think it's the strongest issue #1 at delivering the characters, the concept, and the hook at the end that really got me excited. Man, it felt like Criminal, of course. It felt like the work of Brubaker and Phillips. And that's unfortunately something that Chris and Jacob are going to deal with, and they have been dealing with, and they are able to kind of have their own stamp on it, but it is still very close because it's like detective film noir with a little bit of a supernatural tinge. Which I liked about this was that this one really, from the get-go, let us know that it's going into supernatural stuff, right? It's not like with that Texas Blood where I kept going, are they? Aren't they? Oh no, are they? Wait, are they? No, I don't. I was kind of like up and down with that. Of course, I never really fully completed it. I know a lot of people on this panel loved it, but I really liked that book. I thought it was the strongest debut from Image so far. No, from Vertigo so far since the relaunch, and I would say the strongest debut that I personally have read from Chris and Jacob to date. Stu, you got thoughts?
Yeah, man, loved it. All in on this one. I agree with you. My favorite Vertigo book so far. Just from the opening, like we're uncovering an ancient tomb with the anvil of Hephaestus, and we're getting attacked by automatons. Say less, right? I'm all the way in, and then we got this grizzled, noirish PI who's kind of our main character. I was immediately enamored and engaged with him, and just like this world that we're thrown into, and all these different characters, and already our mystery is starting to connect. I just love like you said, Robbie, the supernatural side of it, but there's also the hard-boiled element to it. Those two worlds come out. Michael Tivy on doing all the back matter, like he was there in Infield Gang, there in Texas Blood. That guy adds so much to Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips' work. So had to shout him out. I love seeing those extra articles in the back about, about the PI and about, I love that little bit of 2-3 extra pages that you're going to get from a Conn Phillips project. And yeah, they've been gestating for quite a while. They've had this one in the works, and then Vertigo kind of came along, and the stars aligned. But this was my favorite opening salvo from the relaunch. And yeah, this one checked all the boxes. And shout out to Haas as well, killing it on the lettering.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a great 1-2 punch, right? With the art and with the story, and just really encapsulating this could have been the first episode of a new TV show, and I would have been like, oh man, I can't wait till the next issue, right?
Yes.
Neatly tying everything together, conveniently so at times. So that's what happens in these 40s detective inspired stories. What about you, E? I know you're a fan of Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. So what do you think about this book?
Dude, I'm right there in line with you guys. I feel it is leaps and bounds the strongest Vertigo launch that we've gotten so far. This was one short round away from being an incredible Indiana Jones issue. We were this close, man.
So true, dude.
Dude, I got such big Indiana Jones vibes, which I say is a compliment, by the way, because yes, we get the detective noir stuff, and yes, we get the hard-boiled stuff, but there was a lot of fun in this issue. The back and forth that our main character Ezra has with the police officer, the kind of joking jabs that they give each other and stuff like that. I feel like they were toying with a lot of genres, and then obviously the supernatural aspect of it, really great balancing. In fact, when I was reading through this issue, I kept saying to myself, dude, these boys are leveling up right now. This is they've taken it to another level. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They released this during COVID on their Patreon. This is actually older work than they've done recently. So
holy cow.
Bravo to the team.
We're getting their leftovers for Vertigo's day, re-debut.
Right? Yes, that's how strong of a team this is, man. So kudos to the team. This was a fantastic issue. I'm still toying with what my actual top comic of the week is going to be. It's a contender right now, though, a very strong contender.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the Indiana Jones, kind of the adventure based on archaeology and ancient relics and stuff like that. That's definitely a big part of it. It's almost like Indiana Jones by way of John Huston or something like that, right? What about you, Nick? What do you think?
Yeah, I loved it. And, I echo everything you guys said. It's a great mixture of genres, like we mentioned. I like all the characters, like the conversations. The writing is solid. It gives you that criminal vibe. So if you've read Criminal, you feel nice and safe. You have that Indiana Jones inspiration as well. And I don't know where it's going to go and how trippy and mythological it's going to get. That's the other cool thing about it. How grounded will this book be? We have no idea. We know it's going to be rooted in some pretty cool mythology. So I'm excited to see how far they push things with this series. Do they keep it grounded? Do they go in some weird way? I'm excited for it, man. And how does our character go from his detective persona into this other thing that has to take on these spiritual things or mythologies? That's gonna be really cool to see how they pull it off.
Well, I think that goes to what E was kind of saying about the Indiana Jones vibe, because on the surface, Indiana Jones feels kind of grounded of but then the things that he deals with of the arc, the guy ripping out a heart and those things, and the whole they're oh, that's some not as grounded things as in there. So that's the connection I get very much with the Indiana Jones of is it going to be full on unnormal things happening, or is it going to be a little bit of throughout that that?
Yeah.
Well, the really cool thing is, if we really want to know how this book is turning out, we can just pay $9.99 a month or whatever on their Patreon and go check it out. They may have pulled it by now. I'm sure they're doing. Maybe have you ever read the original stuff? E, have they shifted and changed things, or?
I'm cheap as hell, man. I didn't pay for any Substacks. You kidding?
Nope.
Nobody on this panel would be that silly, would they? Right?
All for those gimmicks.
Look at that, Greg. We let you go first, and you pick a book everybody agrees with you.
Because they don't get it taken away. Every single other time I'm fifth pick. So, I have to pick people's typically fifth best book of the week and hope it's good. So then by the second time, it's the 10th pick. It's holy buckets.
That's a great pick, though, man. And we, everybody, we would recommend checking it out, though it's not for everybody, as Alex out in the chat obviously wasn't quite for you. You know what? That's okay. There was something else released for you, hopefully, this week. If you didn't like any comic book you read this week or this month, I would recommend professional wrestling. What about you, Stu? What about you?
All
What's
right.
your pick of the month, man?
So we started at the end of the month. I'm going to take it back to the beginning and go with like a book that really surprised me. Top of the month, first week, Absolute Superman number 16, y'all. This had Jason Aaron writing it, Juan Ferreira on the artwork. Juan just blew me the fuck away. This was like largely a back and forth / fight back and forth between Absolute Hawkman and Absolute Supes, but it was like a clash of ideologies and, you know, a world weary foe trying to bring our naive alien into the ways of the world, right? But dude, I think this was like the one where Juan really, it was just great to see him transition out of TMNT. We were hoping he would get a shot at something big. Jason brings him in for this one, and man, did he deliver. Like, not from the beginning, just Carter Hall going down into, I love how we had the Tomb of Teth Adam. I love that bit of world building. I love like this story that's in there with the hieroglyphics, a bunch of Easter eggs and cool shit going on there. But then like him coming out, you know, busting Nazi skulls, kind of starting out as being a good guy, and just to see his transformation, the things we've seen him do in Absolute Evil. And then, dude, like that fight between him and Supes, that shot where, you know, Supes sends him through layer after layer of the building is just like one of the best pages we got this month. And then Absolute Parasite at the end, the real fight, you know, that we have to take care of. I just love their whole back and forth. This one came out of nowhere. I did not know Juan was going to guest on the artwork, and he just blew me away. Not only that, but then the epilogue with Lex and Brainiac, man. Like, Brainiac has just been the best addition to this book in this universe. So I got to go Absolute Superman number 16. Shout out to Juan Ferreira on the artwork and Jason Aaron. That one surprised me.
Absolute great pick. You know, I don't think it's as powerfully impactful as Absolute Batman. I don't think it's as wondrously innovative as Absolute Martian Manhunter. I don't think it's as technically solid as Absolute Wonder Woman, but it is probably the most core, true to its core root, a superhero story that, as we understand it. I saw some people disappointed in this issue because Kal-El is not, they feel like he's lost some of his edge and he's acting more like the regular proper Superman or whatever. But I'm like, that's the beauty of this arc to me, is like where he started and how he's getting to where he's at. We're seeing the steps to get us into a different, slightly twisted version of the story of Superman, right? I'm loving all the side characters. I'm loving what Jason Aaron's doing. I think this book is solidifying even more. And I think this was the best issue yet. All the Hawkman stuff, like you were saying, it was great. All the stuff set up by Absolute Evil. Holy cow, I cannot wait for Absolute Green Arrow, to be honest with you, man. That's right? Freaking awesome.
It looks gnarly as hell.
But it is, I think, one of the biggest problems, one of the biggest showcases of negligence and misunderstanding in the comic book industry from readers and collectors right now is Juan Ferreira not being up there with Dan Mora and Jorge Jimenez and Nick Dragata as like the biggest, most preeminent artists out there. Juan has been killing it for years. His Killmonger series he did, I think, with Brian Edward Hill was phenomenal. He did with Cullen Bunn, I think, during Absolute Carnage, like a little 3-issue Punisher arc or story or Venom or something. And it was freaking awesome, right? And his Turtles work, just glorious and beautiful. Everything this dude does is top notch. And please get this guy on a major, super big title because he deserves it. What do you think, E?
This was an awesome issue. Man, it's hard to debate you whether or not it was the best issue. Like, it's got to be. I think it is, right? And I'm glad, Robbie, that you brought up the side characters, because I think that that's the strength of this entire series, and it really, really shows in this issue. Brainiac is, bar none, the most fun character, I feel like, that's been revealed from the Absolute universe, in my opinion. But we get little pieces of the Superman mythos in this that I wasn't expecting. We get to see Perry White for the first time, where he kind of basically pats Lois Lane on the shoulder and he's, hey, good luck, kid. I'm not sure if you're built for this. I definitely wasn't. Jimmy Olsen calling up like, hey, I got this job. It's going to be fantastic. Like, there was little moments like that really like elevated this book for me, along with really getting to know the grizzled, kind of grumpy Hawkman character. This book has been all about secondary characters, whether it's Superman's parents and getting to know them, whether it's, the different factions that were fighting each other, which we kind of find out were kind of Ra's al Ghul's peeps. But that's what this book has been all about, and it kind of leans on those strengths. So when we talk about Superman kind of growing and becoming his own character, again, man, I think that just strengthens the book even more. We have a great foundation that's been built. Now, pun intended, this character can soar. I'm really excited to see that. So, yeah, dude, Stu, this is an awesome pick, man. I love this one.
Yeah, very much well said. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, I thought it was great, man. I loved it, especially just the artwork. I really miss the artist. And so I'm glad he's back over on this book now. And just Stu, you mentioned that one shot where I think he gets his revenge a little bit on Carter, and he punches him through the different layers, right? That panel, that full page was just incredible to look at. The coloring is amazing too. I love just the banter between the two characters too. Like, it's so funny. Hawkman, he's just so much more equipped and experienced and grizzled, like Eric was saying. Like, he can take him on. And I think he said at one point he was like mocking his powers, like, oh, you thought you were the strongest guy on the block or whatever, that you didn't even know how to learn. You never learned how to throw a punch. And so, like, this is a back and forth between the two of them. The overconfidence of Hawkman, and now they have to team up against Parasite, who's like a building-sized monster at this point. Yeah, dude, I'm all for it, man. I had a great time with this issue. I was bummed out by the previous one, honestly, and then this one kind of brought me back in. So I'm excited to see the battle, and then we got Shazam coming up pretty soon too. So that's gonna be kind of fun to get into.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see the take on Shazam right there. What about you, Greg? What'd you think about Loot Suit?
I mean, everything that you all have said, this is probably my favorite one. Absolute Superman has been up and down for me. It hasn't been like consistently one of my favorites. But I do think, like, Robbie, you said that people were getting frustrated with, him being a little more whimsical, I guess, like having to go save someone real quick and the kind of interaction. I feel like that has to happen because as much as he's involved now with these characters that we've spent so much time with, these side characters, invest in him and those relationships too, right? And like,
yeah, we've literally spent 15 issues building up to this Clark. I mean, that's the entirety of all the good parts of Something Is Killing the Children.
So as you get people in your life who are going to make a difference and start to build stuff, like, you're going to start to get that you're going to change. You're not going to still be your moody, edgy. And so
especially after the battle for Smallville and going up against the Lazarus Corp and seeing what the ultimate result of that kind of mentality and mindset is, right?
Yeah. So I think it was great. I thought this was a great first issue. The whole backstory of Hawkman, who how he came about, and Stu mentioned it, but it deserves to be mentioned again. That panel, that page, like, that gave me those moments where we got that stuff in the TMNT books, where like the train, right, or whatever, those moments,
dude,
where you're just like, and that's where, like, then I like cringed, where I was just like, I miss him on Turtles.
I know. So much.
I miss him on Turtles so much too, man. Like, Turtles is still fun, but it's not quite the magic that it was. But you know what? I'm happy to see that magic applied to Absolute Superman. What a great pick, Stu. Great pick, man. Maybe Juan Ferreira
enjoyed it.
Man,
is it going to be Jason's new go-to artist? Because I would love that.
I would love to see the two of them work. I know Sandoval's coming back, right? That is the dude, right? Sandoval.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. After the next issue,
because he's on 7. Juan's on 17. It says here.
So I would love to see. I mean, honestly, I think Juan would improve any book that he goes to, right? Yeah. But I think Absolute Green Lantern needs a really solid artist.
Yes.
Really help anchor. Now, I don't know if I'd necessarily want him to be teamed up with Al Ewing, because I don't know if Al Ewing. Writer too. Yeah, and I don't know if Al Ewing, like, I don't know. Actually, I've been reading some Immortal Thor, and Al Ewing,
dude, he's already done
artists big moments, right? So Immortal Hulk, right? Yeah, with Joe.
And
Bennett.
Juan's already done Green Lantern with Ben Percy back in the Rebirth days, man. He's already familiar with the character.
Nick, you can mark this down for Robbie's Marvel.
Sign him up.
Sign
him up.
Stu, that was a great pick. Great picks. 2 great picks so far. No disagreement from the panel. The case of the peril of the brutal dark, number 1, and Absolute Superman number 16, which does like act the perfect way. Like 1 through 15, that's one big like deluxe story. That should be one hardcover, deluxe hardcover. 16 kind of starts the next wave or the next phase, I should say, of Absolute Superman. Third coming up. There's still some great books, man. What you got?
It's me though. I like to throw a monkey.
You're
wrench
in your safe
things.
spot though. You're in that
Here we
third
go.
position. You're
Don't do
trusted
it.
position.
Don't you do it. You son of a-
No, I'm a card carrying DC shill. I'm going to stick around with the Absolute Universe.
Oh.
Absolute Wonder Woman Annual. Loved this issue. The Absolute Universe is making annuals essential, and I really, really appreciate that because it used to be something that was an immediate skip on my pull list. Nope, it goes back on the stand. I have no time for that because it's inconsequential, doesn't mean anything, and it's usually from a team that has no, it's something that's been, stored away, right? It's just that fill-in issue that where they get to toy with something that doesn't matter. Not this though. We've seen it in Absolute Batman. We definitely see it here with Absolute Wonder Woman. Dude, Kelly Thompson, I knew she was a great writer. I knew that, right? So when she was announced as the writer on this book, I was like, this is really going to fit well. I could not have anticipated how well of a fit it is, though. Diana is such a heartfelt character. And this issue, I feel like really exemplifies that even more than what we've gotten in any previous issue. Because, talk about a callback, man. The first arc, she turns herself into the Medusa in order to save the city. That's crazy enough as it is. Then remembers the time that she spent as the Medusa and how difficult it was and how remorseful she was in that small period of time that she went back to real Medusa and had to save her from what she was going through herself. I don't know too many writers that are going to explore an idea like that, but Kelly Thompson definitely does. The artwork in this too was freaking glorious. I'm not even going to try to say the name because I'm going to butcher it. Maria Della y Luis. I just said I wasn't going to try it, but I did try it. I think I was
pretty good.
close.
Pretty good, bro. Yeah.
Pretty good, right?
I'm convinced, bro. I was like,
Yeah, right?
down that
Nailed it. That's how
phonetically.
you say
If you
it
would
from
have
now
just
on.
owned it from the get-go, no one
Just
would
say it
have
with
even-
confidence,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Artist of books like The Call, where they teamed up with Kelly previously. They did the fill-in issues here. Dude, you look at some of the things on here, oh God, okay, look at Athena here. This is incredible work, man. That is
Untouchable.
I don't know if this is digital or traditional. I have to assume it was digital, but man, if this was a double page spread, I would consider buying it. Man, it's such a great storyline with a little tinge of humor too at the very end. I love that when the resolution happens, I'm not sure Medusa really cares as much as she lets on that she cares. But man, I just everything Absolute just seems to be firing on all cylinders right now, man, and I really appreciate that. But this is a shining example.
We've gotten 2 annuals so far from the Absolute Universe. And like you said, they are pretty much essential, right? And not just that, but they are interesting and fun. And they're good. They're both good self-contained stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love how this one, like you said, throws back to the first arc, adds a layer and depth of dimension to not just that story, but recontextualizes Diana as a character based on her experience through that story, because it's something that's been in her subconscious, like this empathy that she has by taking on the role of Medusa. Ultimate Diana is someone, or Absolute Diana, my bad, Ultimate Diana. I knew that would happen one day. She is absolutely somebody who can step into somebody else's shoes, right? And really, she's an empathetic character. That is something that is anchored firmly into Diana across all different comics throughout the ages, right? Whether it's pre-crisis, post-crisis, the Byrne stuff, the Azzarello stuff, the Greg Rucka stuff, the George Perez stuff, right? The old school stuff, golden, silver, bronze, modern, doesn't matter. That core at Diana is always there, and as different of a take on Wonder Woman and her entire story and world as Absolute Wonder Woman is, that core of Diana is still there. And that's not necessarily something I see in the other Absolute books. Superman's getting there right now, especially in the new issue. Also, Mateo D. Iolis, when I was training to be a preacher, you have to say all those weird names in the Old Testament. My preacher was like, just say it like that's how it's supposed to be said. And because
People
nobody else
believe
knows how
you.
to say it either, right?
Mhm.
And we always know, we all work on YouTube in the comic book community. They're going to correct us, right? So
That's true.
they're going to try to correct us in
Just gotta stop
comments.
caring.
That's a little bit difficult to do. But that artwork, way different of a style than Hayden Sherman, right? However, it's so unique and interesting in and of itself. I do not mind, especially because it doesn't interrupt Sherman's artwork like page to page throughout the run, right?
Well, what's wild is that Sherman actually designed the costume for Athena. Like, Stu, you put us onto that, I believe.
Yeah, well, Mattia like posted, those shots and in detail and stuff like that, and it was like Athena designed by, and then tag Hayden, which is super cool. So yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was his design through and through, but it's just dope they're collabing like that.
Yeah, that is super cool. I mean, that means Hayden has such a firm like grasp on the vision of that book. I think it's great.
I mean, it's just such a genius incarnation of Athena, like usually associated with owls, like this giant sprawling golden god. It's just beautiful.
I love it. I think it's great. It is. It's obvious, right? And that's what's great. The Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chang redesigns of the gods, though, are so subtle and nuanced and very particular about certain references, like Hades being a little kid with candles melting over his eyes so he can't see. Those are so many like small little references, and I like that too. But man, whatever, man. This is a great Wonder Woman run. Nick, what do you think? Absolute Wonder Woman Annual.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It's the artist is incredible. I think he does scale and just like perspective and just comparison scale just better than most people do, right? In the industry, just those gigantic, so far we have a theme, right? It's these gigantic mythological beings or whatever they might be, gods and whatnot, being represented. And then you have this little tiny Diana who's a giant in her own sense, right? Like among her own people and among humans. So it's really cool to see that difference in scale. And you only get that if you've been reading the series the whole time, which is great. It's got a lot of great humor in it too. There's one part where she's climbing the mountain after she gets her conversation with Athena out of the way and she's heading towards Medusa. And I think she says something like, why is there always a mountain, or why is there always some infernal mountain or something like that? Like she's struggling. She gave up her powers for the most part. She's trying to like get to where she's going. There's a lot of cool like metaphors around that too. Like the thing you look for is in the highest place, is in the hardest place to get to, right? So like, yeah, there's a lot of cool little undertones in there. And then, yeah, it's just right on brand for the character that we've seen so far. Like she will give everything up to save somebody else, even if they're mean sometimes, or even if they don't deserve it sometimes. Like she will go out of her way. And that's her true character coming out inside of this version of the character. So I still think it's my favorite representation of like the absolute version of a character. And we just get reminded over and over and over again. It doesn't matter who's on the art team. We're just reminded about how special this character is. So yeah, I love the issue.
Well put. What about you, Bearded?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's been great. That has still been my favorite of the absolute series is Wonder Woman. And I think what I appreciate is you could skip the annual. You don't have to, but but this one feels like you shouldn't. I think that's the distinction for me of like, it fits in the world very well, but you could pass it up. You could have done with a Batman, but you don't. You're going to miss out on something then, I think, moving forward. And this is just the beautifulness of, man, Kelly Thompson can write a fantastic Wonder Woman. There's depth to the character. There's, the emotional feel that you get of why Diana makes some of these choices that she makes throughout the book. And what she goes through, and like the character designs are sweet, like that we've mentioned, like this, because I feel like with the absolute Batman, you have everything with Dragota's over the top, right? With the bigger Banes, bigger everything, to like where this kind of feels a little more tied into the absolute universe by having like the bigger god characters too. So it's not as jarring, I think, when you see, as we'll start to see more crossover in the universes of like, why are these characters really big, but they're not in maybe other ones? So I kind of started to notice that in this one, and I like that aspect too.
How
yeah. What about you, Stu? Got thoughts? Would you share them with us?
Yeah, it was just incredible. Like you said, I love how we're kind of like bringing annuals back at DC, and what Thompson is doing in this book, like the way they're taking mythology and kind of reinventing it and doing these like meditations on it has just been incredible issue to issue, whether it's, this or the Prometheus issue or what have you. But, here just going back and forth between Diana as a child and then as an adult. And I just loved like the conversation that she's having with Athena, where you get that insight into where she's coming from. And to me, man, one of those like panels and pages I'm never gonna forget is when she looked Medusa in the eyes, right? And there was all that emotion just dripping off the page, man. It just ripped your heart out. Also, what Nick said about the dialogue in this one is so on point. I think this is one of the best, most sharpest written issues from Thompson. I love the bit at the end. I can't believe that stupid human figured you out and saved you. Yeah, what was her name again? Dina? And she's like, and we wonder how this get made or whatever. It was just such a wonderful end cap, man. To such a heartfelt and beautiful story. So yeah, this this book is, I think, that the most consistent and like Robbie said, most true to the character of the person it's portraying and talking about. I don't think anything has felt off about this version of Diana, but it's also something completely new and amazing and incredible. And issue to issue, whether it's something past, present, future, whatever, wherever Thompson is going to take you is going to be worth your time. So yeah, not a single spot of weakness from this book, and this annual is no different.
Absolutely. All right, that's 3 picks that we all love across the board. 3 picks, all DC. Just pointing that out. Nick, what you gonna go with for your pick of the month?
All right, we're gonna screw it up. You ready? We're gonna go with the book that came out in the first part of the month. It was a book I barely had on my radar, and it blew me away. And it was my pick of the week at that moment, man. And I'm so glad that I was able to grab a copy. This is Night City, Dark Horse, from Matt Kint. And we have David Lapham on this one as well. This book was such a surprise. And that's why I'm picking it, because like there are so many great books that came out this month, and I was expecting them to be good. You know what I'm saying? I was expecting Wonder Woman to be good, Superman to be good, Ezra Kane to be good. All these books. I had no expectations for this, and it made my pick of the week. So it was extra special from that sense. But essentially, if you haven't read this one, it is a Superman type character called the Knight. He is in a city. But he has like, he's getting tired of this entire thing, right? He keeps putting villains behind bars. They break back out. He's trying his best. There's always something to overcome. He's getting so tired of all this. He starts to crack a little bit, almost like a Homelander kind of a situation where he starts to push things a little bit too far. And he kind of restrains himself a little bit, but it's not just like his motivation that's wearing him out. He's physically tired too. It really dives into aspects of like being Superman that we've probably seen in other stories, but I haven't seen it approached like this, where the world, there's like a tracker somebody put together of the death tolls. And they know when he goes to sleep because the death toll rises because he's not around to save people. And I'm sure that's not a new concept, but it's a concept that I haven't seen a lot lately. And there's another interesting thing where he's really exploring the supersonic hearing, where we know that Superman has this and other superheroes have it. They can, hear things across the world and whatnot, but he has a special chamber like his Fortress of Solitude almost, where he has to go, and it's like a deafening chamber almost. And it doesn't quite work all the time. He has this ritual he has to go through to put himself under, to just block out the noise. And that's also contributing to like his fatigue of being a superhero. But not only that, if that wasn't weird enough, every time he goes to sleep, he subconsciously alters reality and turns into his Clark Kent persona. So now he's Clark Kent, and he literally warps reality around him to fit in that dichotomy, right? So it's a whole different like take on that. It's really cool. And this book explores when his arch nemesis starts figuring this out. And now he knows he's vulnerable as this other guy. And that's his plan to take him out. I thought it was a really cool story. I haven't seen anything like it before. A lot of cool, interesting things. And the interior artwork was fire too. And Matt Kint actually colors it. So, I had no expectation for it. It blew me away. Night City #1, Dark Horse Comics.
I'm glad you mentioned Night City. It was on my list for my honorable mentions. Best of the rest, rapid fire at the end of the show. I'm a fan of David Lapham. I love Stray Bullets. I love Murder Me Dead. I like Matt Kint. I love Mind Management. I like a lot of the other stuff he does, but a lot of it doesn't usually, as clever it is, stick with me, right? This one, I'm reading it, and I'm like, first of all, it's really cool to see David Lapham do superhero stuff.
Yeah.
You don't typically see that.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
also really cool to see his work colored by someone like Matt Kint, who provides texture through the color. Because
Yes.
Lapham is somebody who never really, even when his wife is working with him, there's not really much texture there because it's a very kind of glossy line, right? Like, and I think it works for for that aesthetic that he brings in most of his
True.
work.
Yeah.
But having that textured coloring from Matt Kent adds a different dimension there. All the things you said about taking the Superman idea. How many people do this? This is their stand-in for Superman, their way of how they would go about it, their interesting take on the powers, them trying to do that, right? The idea about when he goes to sleep, then he becomes his like Clark Kent persona, but then there's like twists within twists about that.
Right.
That I found to be incredibly interesting. Like I think not enough people know about this book, so I'm very, very glad that you mentioned it. Bearded, did you check this out, Greg?
Speaking of, not enough people know about this book. It was completely off my radar. I didn't pick it up. It is now on my list to go and find. And I mean, it sounds right up my alley. What's funny is the entire time you were talking about the echo chamber, basically to go sleep, I just had visuals of Ben Affleck and Daredevil in his little like sleep coffin that he.
Dude, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's
same thing. Yeah.
That was the exact same thing I was thinking of the entire time.
Sure.
And that's
and
now
way,
I'm going to read it, and that's how I'm going to visualize
the ritual. Ready for it, by the way, is just painkillers. Lots of painkillers, right? You know, there are elements of that Daredevil movie that are actually pretty awesome and slightly subversive for its time.
Like Colin Farrell as Bullseye.
Colin Farrell's Bullseye is awesome, right?
He
but
is.
Also, like little things like Daredevil allows that dude to die, killing Elektra. I'm glad they did that, and they did it word for word, shot for shot, almost like Miller did. Not quite, but like, I don't know, man. Like that really blew me away. And I was like, if he says, and for my next trick, and then he does, and then it doesn't even pierce the fucking leather, so it just gets that pointy thing. I don't know. I'm a sucker for that. The director's cut is way better, but it's still not a good movie, right? Also, the fact that he chooses, it's either in the director's cut or it's the theatrical make. Maybe it's the director. In one of the versions, they change it in the other one, but one of the versions, he chooses not to save someone that he can hear who is in trouble so he can go and sleep with Elektra. And I'm like, that's the most realistic superhero moment I've ever seen.
Such a Matt Murdock.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Such a Matt Murdock movie.
I mean,
fuck the kids, man.
She smells like jasmine. Jasmine's in the air.
And they do the like people talk shit about the playground fight. That's straight from David Mack, man. That's straight from David Mack and Joe Quesada's run, man. And I love that, man. We all loved it when it happened in the comic. Whatever. This is not a movie review of Daredevil starring Jean Favreau and Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. But
John Favreau.
We're talking about Night City. What about you, Stu? Did you read Night City?
Yeah, read it, loved it. You totally nailed it about Lapham's pencils with Kent's color, and that was like one of the things I enjoyed most about this. The the story is definitely like I like how it fucks with you, right? Like you think you know what's going on, you settle into it a little bit more, you think you have a new grasp on what's going on, and then by the end of it, it kind of upends your expectations in a cool and fun and subversive way. So this one was a pleasant surprise. I gotta shout out Nick for it because he's been a champion of this thing since he read it, and it definitely wouldn't have been on my radar otherwise. But that's how we get the word out about new good books that are over there on the indies, right? So man, I think more and more, especially now moving into 2026 in the future, Matt Kent is like one of those names you can trust. If it's a Matt Kent book, I want to check it out.
Yeah.
Like you said, Robbie, not everything he does is for me, but a damn good majority of it is. And if he's got his name on it, I definitely want to give it a shot. So I'm glad I did with this one. Obviously, after the ending, I can't wait to see where it goes and you know how reality is affected. So yeah, Night City was dope.
Yeah, Night City was good. And you know, when you were talking about the coloring, I something popped in my head. Anybody ever read Golden Age by James Robinson? And I cannot remember the artist right now. Golden Age, the way the line work works with the color makes me think of that. If, by the way, y'all need to read James Robinson's Golden Age. That is one of the best DC books of the 90s. I want to say it might be Paul Smith doing the art, but I'm probably wrong on that. Somebody in the chat knows. I see 62 around in here. Maybe he knows, but The Golden Age, written by James Robinson. It's almost like if you love Starman, that is almost like an essential piece, I would say. Even though it's not necessarily in that world. But The Golden Age by James Robinson, y'all. That's really good. We should get together and do a Comics Revisited. We should bring that back for a one-time thing, and I'll read that book because more people need to read that book. Seriously.
I read it prepping for my interview with James, and it did not disappoint. So
you have read it, Greg. That's awesome.
Yep.
Isn't that such a great book, dude?
Mhm.
Oh my God, dude. It's amazing, man. Anyway, Eric, what do you think about The Golden Age? Or what do you think about Night City?
Let's go with Night City just to play it safe. Yeah, Matt Kindt is an idea guy. Even in the books that don't necessarily resonate with me, the idea is sound, and I really like what he's exploring. When the idea and the execution really, really click, though, it becomes a special book. That's what I feel like we're getting with Night City. That's what I really appreciate. And it's kind of funny because this is something I've been thinking about when we talked about Absolute Superman. So because of Stu, I'm going back and starting to read Invincible. I've never read it before, right? But we were talking about Battle Beast on Sunday. So I'm like, okay, let me go into that. So I'm 4 issues into that. And in one of the scenes, father and son are flying along, and, dude's zipping away like, oh, I had to save this. A plane was, going down. Oh, I had to go over here. There was an explosion. I had to save people. Mm-hmm. And then in Absolute Superman, we're kind of getting the same thing. Cal is zipping away, ditching Hawkman, trying to take on stuff. And in this, it's the subversion of that idea where he's in the echo chamber, he can hear everything, and he understands and he knows, I can't be everywhere at once, and I can't go do this. I got to just chill right here in my little place, and I got to just rest for a little bit. So he knows, he's like, when I do this, people die. And that was just a really nice, different approach and different way to look at this character that really, I don't know, really drove it home. I thought that was a really cool way to explore that kind of idea. And again, Matt Kindt, it's God, there's something just about this book that really, really clicked. And I hope that they can kind of keep that magic with each and every issue. I don't know how long this is going to go, but I hope it's at least 6 issues.
So
we get
3.
It's only 3. Okay. See, that's kind of what I was afraid of, because
it's listed at 3. I don't know if that's the final. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess time will tell on that one, but I just want the
Dark Horse, unfortunately, right now, right?
That's the thing. Yeah. I want it to have a long enough runway to where they have the time to tell the story without having to rush anything. So, that's for the future to tell. But this issue, though, really set things up in a big bad way, and I'm excited.
Hell yeah. Night City. We all like it, except for Greg, who hasn't read it, but he's going to read it, and
I'm sure I would love it. So
he's going to love it.
Yeah. Love it.
4 out of 5 dentists approved. So
here we are at my pick. I'm going last, and I still get my initial first pick. That's awesome. I get the one that I wanted to start with, which was no surprise to anybody. Absolutely. It's Absolute Martian Manhunter number 9. I think this is groundbreaking, next level comic books. Recently, Rob Liefeld said that Dennis Camp is the Alan Moore of the modern day. And I saw a lot of people say, that's awesome to hear somebody as great as Rob Liefeld in this industry say that. I've heard people say that means nothing coming from a no-hack, talentless piece of shit like you, Rob. And I've also heard how unfair of Rob to say that, because now people are going to expect him to live up to that legacy. I think I understand exactly what Rob means when he says that, because I said that years ago. I said, even when I maybe first had Dennis on the show, you're like, to me, the way Alan Moore and Grant Morrison think about comics and comics writing, that's you, bro. And I picked that up early on with Maxwell's fucking Demons, right? And just talking with Dennis, right? And this dude loves Alan Moore, and he loves Grant Morrison, and he loves so many other creators from around the world. He has such a beautiful vision and a history with the medium of comics, right? Absolute Martian Manhunter, I'm not lying, to me is groundbreaking. To me, it's my favorite Absolute book. I understand why it wouldn't be everybody's favorite. It's not the most accessible, but it is like what I love about Vertigo, tied in heavily to DC Comics from the early 90s in particular, is represented by books like this, right? First of all, Rodriguez on the artwork. I mean, come on, y'all. It's part of the style of this book is a psychedelic noir, right? And that comes across. Heavy shadows, great spotting of blacks, right? Perfectly balanced and anchored. You could look at this book in black and white and it would still be beautiful. But then those colors, but it's not an overuse. Other people would overuse, oh, this is a psychedelic book, and they would overuse it. He uses it in the moments it needs to be used and in the full issues in which it needs to be used. This issue in particular, we get introduced to Absolute Despero, right? Which is Despero, or which is Despair, right? So it's all about like this entity of despair. John is now relinquished of this entity of the Martian Manhunter, the Martian Mindfucker, as Dennis likes to call him. And he is now kind of possessed by this other entity. And it's talking about the despair. So the themes of like loneliness and isolation and everything that John is dealing with right now with his family troubles, right? But we're seeing it on a global social scale, right? So it's got a lot of empathy, this book does. And the way that Despero is shown in this version with the midnight blue and the noirish but cartoonish kind of shading and the curves, and it just looks amazing. And how that relates to like the Martian Manhunter and the White Martian and how he kind of fits in the middle there. It's I don't know. I think it's absolutely astounding. Then what is the Martian Manhunter actually dealing with? How about an alien autopsy? So there's one pop culture reference. How about Operation the Game? There's another pop culture reference. Those pages are beautiful. The themes of loneliness, isolation, separation with the entity, the ultra-terrestrial, the extra-dimensional entity, the Martian Mindhunter, whatever we want to call it, and John, they're having parallel stories. They're both going through their dark night of the soul, especially in this issue. I think this is groundbreaking, innovative, and insane. And in a week in which I had the potential for 5 picks of the week, it rose above, for me, once again, the best of the best. Absolute Martian Manhunter. What do you think, bearded comic bro?
I read it, and everything you said is super helpful for me to understand why I should like this book. I'm hanging along with y'all. I'm in it for the ride. I still don't get it. It still is over my head. Yeah, but I'm here for the ride. So I'm not going to downplay anything on it because y'all love it and it just doesn't work for me, but I'm still reading it.
All right. I appreciate that. What about you, Stu? You got some thoughts?
Dude, it's fucking incredible. And it's like, you know, there have been times with this book where it's gone up and down for me. And last issue was such a high that I was kind of like a little bit nervous about where this one was going to land, especially like the big events we had with like, you know, the other Martian essentially getting assassinated or, you know, taken away from John and everything moving forward. But like just the way it opened up with him investigating some of the Martian's visions from the previous week, and then like moving, man, that bit of the operation where the government's operating on the Mindhunter and they pick him up, and you know, it's that like cacophony of fireflies. Like what Javier is doing in this book, page to page, is just absolutely transcendental. And those you know, you're used to this color palette that he's established. When you get smacked in the face with like a page like that, it just does something to you. And you know, I don't know if this is like one of those works of art where I don't know if you necessarily need to tie everything down and put a pin in it, man. This is one of those ones where I don't think you necessarily need to understand everything, or you can roll with some of the ambiguity here and still appreciate it and still enjoy the experience. I think that's part of the ride with this one. And wherever he's going to park / land it, I'm here for it. But yeah, like seeing Despair take more of a predominant role here and be part more of like the narration was wild and also funny, but in a depressing way. But man, this one, I think in so many ways, even though it's wild and ethereal and, you know, says so many things with steam coming out of people's ears, like this one hits home to me about like what we have going on in this country, like day to day, more so than any other, like very few other books, maybe except for a camp book like the Ultimates. I think this book is addressing a lot of the status quo in America, how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about each other, and it's just doing it in brilliant, incredible ways. So I'm here for it. It's like walking up to a piece of abstract art at the museum every time I open this up. You know, that's how I feel like it.
Do you know what it reminds me of, man? It reminds me, and I don't mean this as far as like anything about the story or anything even about the style, but about like the ambition and like the ambition and the idea of how to innovate through reimagining Silver Age concepts, right? Reminds me Pete Milligan and Chris Bachalo on Shade the Changing Man back in the 90s. It reminds me of that, like as far as ambition and scale and just what it's trying to do with an old school character that's not really fully known. Now, Martian Manhunter is more known because of the, I would say, Justice League Unlimited animated series and stuff like that, the Justice League animated series. Much more so, but like still not a lot of people really get who the Martian Manhunter is. And this is a really great reinterpretation of it in a really interesting, quirky counterculture kind of way. If that makes sense, I don't know, man. This feels like it would totally belong in some of those weird Ditko psychedelic shit from the 70s, or some of that, like I said, Milligan, Bachalo on Shade the Changing Man from the 90s. Eric, what do you think, man? Does that make any sense?
It made just as much sense as this issue did, which is to say mostly. But I'm happy that it didn't make a lot of sense to me, specifically the vivisection, not the autopsy, but the vivisection that we get in this issue.
You're right. They do correct us. You're right.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. I like that they had a lot of fun with a scene that was really kind of like torturous to view from the reader's perspective. I did not understand what exactly was going on and what the purpose was, but I also don't care necessarily because I knew that it was supposed to be. It's almost kind of like that scene reminded me a lot of like my reading experience with Department of Truth, where it's like they're playing with big ideas and they're playing with concept of things, and I don't need to know exactly what they're getting at. I know the tone, the feel, the vibes behind the actions that are being taken, but then the juxtaposition between that and all of the things that are happening with John, who is now partnered with Despair, and the playfulness that is being kind of like played with from that character as he like just drags John down into the pits of
it's like he's like a cute mascot, right? Everybody needs a cute little animated mascot. Oh, it's fine, it's charming, it's funny. Forget
your
about
wife
the
and
pain
kid
of the
hate you,
world.
but I'm here for you, buddy. It's good. It'll be fine. It was a really playful, fun, weird issue, which is to say it was an absolute Martian Manhunter issue. So I enjoyed it. I don't think that this book exists without Javier Rodriguez, though. I was thinking a lot about this. You could put big names on this. I mean, you could put somebody like Sienkiewicz on this, and I don't think it would be the same book that we would get if it weren't Dennis Camp and Javier Rodriguez, though, if that makes sense, right?
It wouldn't be the same book, bruh. Like Dennis Camp and Bill Sienkiewicz doing something. Like, come on,
doing something.
This is like,
give it to me. Yes.
This is one of those books I'd love to see the script versus like the end product. You know what I mean? Like what Camp's actually putting on the page versus what Javi's interpreting and kind of taking the ball and running with it. I don't know.
And coloring his own work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so important, man. What about you, Nick? What you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, it lives right there on that edge of, knowing and not knowing what the hell's going on. And there's just enough like subliminal stuff going on to kind of, keep you grounded and figuring out things. There's also a reason why we were talking about this guy as far as like some of the best composition work in comics too. There are some amazing panels in here. I mean, Stu, you were talking about that splash page, but there's a lot of like other layered panels as well through there. And just like the overall flow where your eye is being drawn to and everything. So doing a great job for the visual storytelling, which really helps because sometimes it's a little bit ambiguous what exactly is going on. So I loved all that. I think one of the best parts was just the banter between John and Despair, essentially. You know what I mean? You can see that slow decline in his mentality and how he's viewing things, right? Like he's kind of pushing him away at the beginning of this issue. He's like, get away from me. I don't want to hear this. And he's just constantly feeding this negativity while he's having these conversations with the therapist and everything else. And then by the end, he's like sitting at the edge of his bed, hunched over with this evil look, and despair is just all around him, like the imagery behind all of that, just letting that negativity pour into you constantly to the point where it takes you over. He goes full Anakin towards the end of this thing, right? Like he's done. So it's gonna be fun to see. It's gonna be really fun to see what's gonna be going on here. We got the White Martian coming back too. We got Despair now. We got Green. So it's gonna be fun to see, like, man, where we're gonna go and how this is gonna feed into the broader universe. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care how it does. I want this to be a Vertigo book, to be honest. Like, just rip off the proper, throw a Vertigo title on it, and let's just keep going with it, man. I
Yeah.
don't care what happens and how they're going to tie it together, you know. But
We
I
have
had a
gotten
great time with it.
confirmation it ends at 12, which was a
Yeah.
planned ending. It was initially okayed for 6 issues. The response and the sales gave it 12 issues, and they have an open invitation to continue or even come back when they want to. But Have and Dennis are working on something else that's big that
Yes.
hasn't been announced yet.
That's fine.
So-
As long as they're still together, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Oh,
give me
yeah,
a deluxe hardcover and I'll be good to go.
Dennis just recently said that he thinks him and Javi will be collaborating for the rest of their careers. So
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
And I mean, he's got Zawadzki as well. Like he's got some amazing.
He's like the type of guy. It's like it's gonna be like we're making
incredible.
Alan Moore comparisons. He's gonna be that type of guy where artists want to have that lifelong relationship with him. I would feel
yeah,
like.
absolutely, man.
That's where you can throw in the Remender collab of like every
Yeah.
artist on a Remender book is
good call.
next
man.
level. Like,
Yep.
and I
Yeah.
think that's what you're gonna get with, well, because people want to work with him. Like I would
Yeah.
assume because they're like you're doing something that's
Or when you
unique.
find somebody that you work well with, like
Yeah.
there's no mistake that Ed Brubaker loves working with Sean Phillips, and Sean Phillips loves working with Ed Brubaker. They got a synergy, and they're able to crank that shit out, man. You know, just like Rick Remender, and that's why people, especially over at Marvel, they're afraid to let their artists and their writers communicate, because that's what happened. Some of the best pair ups from Marvel of a certain era wound up doing image books together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's just do our own shit, man. Fuck
Yeah,
these
no
guys.
shit. So I mean, it makes sense, right? Maybe give them more of a stake. I bet Hickman would be like the story director of Marvel if he had a stake in everything, every concept that he created, and if everybody that he brought in had a stake in everything that they created, right? Like, and not just characters, but storylines and concepts. Anyway, we're not here to fix the comic book industry right now. But you're right. I love the Anakin thing. You're right. John's a little Anakin right now. In fact, I expect in the next issue when the green Martian Manhunter shows back up, he goes, "Are you an angel?" Speaking of angels, Greg, why don't you kick off round 2 with your next pick?
It's got to happen, boys. It's got to happen. I've let it go around, but I would be remiss if we did not talk about the hit book that everyone's talking about, aka me and Robbie. We're talking about the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre from Mad Cave Studios. This is everything like the books that I love. Like when I come to these shows of like that I bring of like Moonshine Bigfoot, Robo Wolf, like Shirtless Bear Fighter, like the odd just out there books. Fred Kennedy and James Clark. The art on this book, I love it. It fits so perfect for the 80s vibe, the Miami Vice type, like set in a Jurassic Park hippopotamus, world, and with the cocaine overlord. Like it just hits the right nostalgic feels for me. It's everything I want if you promote a book as called the Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre. This is what it should be. Like the moments where he's like, "Oh, I need to get down to the castle. I'm going to zip line down. Let's just use a human body to zip line down with." And like those moments, I loved it. I thought the pairing of the art is great, and this is a book and a universe that I want to just spend so much time in. So I know it's not for everyone, but it was for me, and I can't wait to spend more time in this universe.
Bruh, this book is so fucking awesome. Made my pick of the week. I love it. There's gun-toting violent nuns in it. There's cocaine riddled hippopotami coming towards like an amusement park filled with people that is owned by a giant drug lord who has created basically new coke. Like an even crazier version of cocaine. And it's got all of those cheesy canon films, 80s action movie, Chuck Norris, just bad fucking stupid ass movies. It's got that aesthetic on lock. And my favorite panel in the entire book is that one right there. You basically have all of these police officers or security officers.
They're so nice.
They're coming in and they're literally saying shit. This is what they're saying. They're saying,
Our last day. Yeah.
oh, shit, I got to take my glasses off. All right, it says, I can't wait to go home and tell my kids how much I love them. The other guy says, I'm proposing to my girlfriend tonight. We'll be together for the rest of our lives. The next guy goes, did you see the pictures from my wife's ultrasound? And then the next guy goes, I'm retiring in 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
And then the guy goes, careful out there, everyone. We all have so much to live for. Like that is like, it's so in on the joke, and it invites us in on the joke. The art is great. It is wild. It is fun. It is ridiculous. There is a second print on the way that has not hit FOC yet. So you can get a hold of it to read. Don't pay the 50, 60, whatever bucks it's available for right now. I'm just fooling around with it. Like, this was a book I liked so much that I was like, you know what? This is one of the books I'm actually going to get. And then, what? Really? Really? Yeah. That's crazy. By the way, we went a whole round. Nobody mentioned Dork or White Sky.
No
maybe
Yes.
they will as we go on. But man, Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre. I just love saying that. Stu, what did you think?
It was fucking hilarious. I loved it. Just a brilliant ride. I love all those titles that Greg named. Like, some of those I've just loved and adored throughout the years, and this one is definitely, like, you know, right in line with that. It was like you guys said, like, it was one ridiculous turn after another. The dialogue was on 11. Like, I love, like, you know, we meet this one guy, then we meet his brother who's trying to free him, and it's just like, dude, I lost my shit when we met, like, the drug lord, right? The guy who's got to get carried around, and then he's got this coke
and shit, dude.
Yeah, he's got this coke. I could have saved the world with this, but I guess I'm gonna just dump it into the hippos and use it for one last cheap thrill. Like, it's just it's hilarity, and it's I don't know, man. Like, we need books like this, and this one also, like, the art on it was very impressive. So, like, this was such a fun ride. Who is this? Mad Cave?
Yeah, it's Mad Cave.
Yeah, shout out Mad Cave, dude. This one was a banger. Like,
who are these creators? It's Fearless Fred Kennedy and James Edward Clark. I think Clark commented on my video, and I think Fearless Fred Kennedy said something on IG, and they were all, I think they were both very taken aback at the response to this book. But I mean, what a perfect name for the book, dude, right? Like, if you're going to do a long name, Something is Killing the Children sounds fine. Yeah. You know, what's the furthest place from here? But Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre, bruh. You know, as soon as I saw that in the solicits, I was reading it. Oh, like, come on. What were you saying, Greg?
I was just saying, like, and because, like, Fred, this is a complete very, like, deviation from, he did the Dead Romans book at Image like a year ago or two. And so, like, so, like, completely different, but, like, this idea originated from their mind of, like, watching Cocaine Bear and and things like that. And then I think, like, they were going to tone down the title, and I think James was the one that was like, no, we got to just make it as absurd as possible.
I love how explicitly Florida it is. Like, they try to make it.
I know it isn't for everyone, but if you don't want to wait for the second print and just read it, you can buy it on Amazon Comixology for like $4.99 digitally. So, like, you can still at least consume it.
Heck yeah.
If you want it.
E, did you get a hold of this one, man? Did you check it out?
I absolutely did, man. I was not going to pass up a book like this. In fact, it's kind of funny. When I saw this, I was like, God, that looks really familiar. I had backed. So James Edward Clark had a Kickstarter that dropped. It must have been like mid last year or something. So, like, not only did I see his earlier work, but I have like original artwork from this cat from way back in the day. This was so gleefully self-aware. Like, it was such a stupid fun time. And like, it's normally something that, like, can be grating, right? Like, it's reasons like I don't like the character of, like, Deadpool and can't read his comics is because they take this kind of approach. But this approach works so freaking well in this book, man. It was just like, it was without a shadow of a doubt, like, the most fun I had in a comic that particular week that it came out, arguably in a long time too. Like, I don't think that I've had a comic like this where it's just like burst out loud laughter because of, like, the self-awareness of it, and like how much joke capital they fit per page. Like, every single panel is just like cramming it down your throat. Like, they're not going to let a single thing fall by the wayside. Everything is just going to make you freaking laugh about it. It was so good. It was so good. And the reality is we were not going to let Greg do this to us again and pick a book out of nowhere that we weren't going to read. So joke's on you.
I'm just glad that like that even if you don't do it, that now when you make your poll go, should I check out this book because I know Greg's gonna mention this book because it seems ridiculous? And even if you don't do it, just that small thought is in the back of your head, my job here is done.
Hell yeah.
I also love we go from Martian Manhunter to Florida.
And I think both books are like perfect scores, man. Like, right, for different reasons, right? Yeah. And I like you mentioned laughing. Eric, I laughed out loud multiple times reading this book, and that's hard to do in a comic book, by the way. Also, real quick, I did want to shout out, I mentioned this on my weekly comic book review about Gunslinger Spawn. There was the perfect lead up to like a car wreck that was like perfect in that, just so you know. Like, I'm not saying Gunslinger Spawn is a must read, but there was a really great moment in Gunslinger Spawn. And for some reason, I just wanted to say that before we went to Nick to see what he thinks about Florida Hippopotamus Cocaine Massacre.
Yeah, I loved it. And Greg, that's exactly what I did when I was looking at the solicitations. I'm like, that is the most ridiculous title I've ever heard. And Greg's going to bring it up on the monthly show. So I got to get this book. And that's what I did. And so I got it. I was the only person at my shop who ordered it. It came in, I got the B cover, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I had such a good time reading it. Like you guys were saying, let's laugh out loud. It's crazy. It's just a lot of fun. I'm glad that it's going for a little bit. I'm glad some people, get to see it now. And yeah, definitely pick up that second print and check out the subsequent issues because, man, it was a joy to read, man. And it's good to have those kinds of books to help break up some of the heavy stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a great one. Good pick.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Great pick, man. Yeah, Bearded, you did it again, man.
Good job, bro.
Listen, I like going first. I actually can make my favorite books. So they're not as controversial picks then when I'm 10th.
Speaking of controversial, we're going to get calls after this one. Stu, what do you got?
I don't know about that. Let's wait and see here. All right, started at the beginning of the month. Now I'm going to go to the end. It's Skate number 6, Rick Remender, Daniel Acuna. Bruh, our boy Milton is nothing to play with, is he? It was great seeing him in action. Kind of get taken prisoner, but provide a distraction with the explosion, and then get closer to his final objective of like taking out this cannon and trying to end the war. I just love for like all the bit of character work that we got in the previous couple issues of him like cooped up in this house. It was great to see some action in this one, and man, Acuna was on one. I just love, to me, that one page after Milton has basically strangled / broken the neck of that one guard who was holding him prisoner, and we get that shot of him standing up holding the machine gun just from below by Acuna was just like everything, man. I just love the color palette he's using through this one, all the dark grays and dark blues, and it was great to see like how resourceful and how much of a badass Milton is going to be, to contend with and this fight and this showdown. And I don't know, it was just cool just watching his whole back and forth, getting interrogated and then being able to get out of it. So yeah, like for all the like the slow exposition that we got in the past couple issues and like the bang that this series started with, it was great to get that return to action in Escape number 6. And man, like Acuna's work in this is just sublime. So this series just continues to impress issue by issue. We were just talking about Greg with Remender and his stable artists, and just like the brand he's built for himself. And this one just delivers issue after issue. E, I'll throw it to you, bro. Did you read it?
Of course I did. It's a Rick Remender book. I'm not going to not read
it.
And, yeah, like, of course. And I agree with you, dude. Like, what I like about Acuna's color work, particularly in this, like when I first saw his work, it was with Remender back at Marvel, and it was the color popped, right? It was a very colorful looking book. I believe it was Uncanny Avengers. It was either Uncanny Avengers or Uncanny X-Force, one of the two, right? But the colors popped in a big bad way. And it was something that didn't necessarily work for me at the time. What I like here is that it is very restrained. It is like super, super restrained, so that when colors need to pop, they do in a big bad way. Like there's particular scenes where just like the lighting, right? Like when Milton is like in that room, and like it feels like you can like really see like the light that could be swinging from like one little string from the top as it plays with the lighting around the room. There's also a scene where like he gets smacked in the back of the head by the freaking butt of the gun and gets knocked out, and it's all done in this beautiful bright red. The use of color is so important in the artwork that's conveyed here. But yeah, like you said, dude, like the fun of this issue is that Milton gets to be a badass. Like he's been kind of on the run, he's been injured, and this one he's just like, you played right into my hand, you idiot. And then boom, everything just blows the frick up, dude. It was a roarous time at the time that we needed for this series as well. Like it really amped things up to end off this arc. Yeah, kudos. Great pick, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Escape, man. This was a great issue, which is crazy because if y'all remember, when the first issue came out, y'all loved it, and I was like, yeah, I've seen this. Doesn't seem anything different, but it was the issue number 2. I was like, holy cow, this is really anchored in like
the
a
art
good...
sucks. We remember.
Yeah. You ain't fooling nobody, motherfucker.
Then I found how, like in issue number 2 and onward, we found out how much anchored it is to rather human story, even though it's about dogs versus bats and shit like that, right? This issue was great, getting to see Milton I'm glad you mentioned his name. I didn't remember his name, but seeing him be badass, right? Like he's lone survivor of the mission behind enemy lines, and he's like acting like he's in Inglorious Bastards, bruh. And I'm here for it. And the artwork is amazing, and I love the subtlety of the coloring, like you were touching on. Eric, what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I loved it. I'll just point out, you know, the dialogue is so good between these characters, and I think I mentioned this last time too. Like you feel fearful. We brought up Inglorious Bastards in the past too about like how you can almost put yourself in those characters' positions and you feel that mortal threat. You know what I'm saying? Like everything feels against you. You know, you feel like your life is on the line, and that's what you get when you read this comic too. Like it's nonstop action. This one has, you know, parts of it where it's super fast and it slows down a little bit, but when it does slow down, like the dialogue is so crisp and clean and fun and just like antagonistic. It's so good, man. It's so good. I love it a lot. The coloring is beautiful in this thing too. And yeah, hey, hardcover deluxe. I want that too. So you know, start pumping them out.
It's a very,
like you said that 3 times tonight so far. That's expensive.
I did, man. I'm all about the collected editions as of late, man. I want just great like library editions of everything.
Hell yeah, man. It's a very measured comic, right?
Hell yeah.
What about you, Greg? You got thoughts?
Oh, great picks too. This was one I was going to, but I felt like I had to show love to Florida.
Oh yeah.
But what I love about this book is like I'm so captured into this character. I'm so invested. I know he's a lone survivor, but like the way the dialogue went, like the confidence, I was like, I thought he was alone. I'm like, where did the rest of this team come from? I'm like, he convinced me, knowing full well that he was so, but like how confident he was.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how'd they time up? I'm like, because I thought it was like Morse code tapping, and then I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, they tricked me, and I knew that he was alone. And like, but that was just like the way the storytelling is. Like, I get so wrapped up into it. This has been one of my favorite books. Each week it comes, or each month when it comes out, I'm just like, I can't wait to read it.
What
a fucking circle jerk we have going on tonight right now. What about you, E? What do you got for round 2, man?
Oh, I'll make sure I'll mess that up right here and right now because I gotta stay on brand. You know what it's time for? Power Fantasy issue number 16, the mythological issue number 16, the one that we didn't know was going to end the series or not. This issue is all about what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. And if I'm correct here, let me just check the pages. Yes, at least 30 million people die in the wake of that event. And that's the least crazy thing that happens in this issue. Yeah, Gillen is just playing with ideas that just you don't see explored in superhero comics. I'm going to be a broken record a little bit because that's what this is all about, right? This is the stuff he's doing. Is the stuff that he couldn't do in things like X-Men, and he's doing it so masterfully. On top of that, you got Casper Wingard, who plays with, okay, we were talking about the restraint of color in Escape. It is so wonderfully neon in the pages of Power Fantasy with Caspar Wingard, and it works so well. In fact, dare I say it's essential to my joy of this book, because there's subtle little nuances with the color and design work for each character that conveys their powers, and it really clues you into things that are happening on the page here. I refuse to spoil the ending to this because everyone needs to experience it for themselves. But knowing that the book is going on a break, I would encourage at least 2 people on this panel to make sure that they catch up with Power Fantasy, because once again, it's the best book on stands.
Well, I am one of those 2 people that will definitely tell you that I will do a read through of the entirety of Power Fantasy now. Right? I got some Marvel runs to get through first because I'm kind of rediscovering my love of Marvel comics.
Why?
What are we doing here?
How many times has Robbie said Marvel today?
This is what happened. I did a Johnson reread. I did a Johnson reread of Hulk.
That's another
and
mark.
enjoyed it.
Here.
I did a Zdarsky reread of Captain America and enjoyed it. And I did videos about them and they did okay. So I'm like, you know what?
Okay.
Let's
He was
double
talking about
down.
the early
Them checks
Daredevil
cleared, huh?
movie, man.
Them
The
checks
Ben
cleared.
Affleck
That's what
Daredevil
happened.
he was
Cleared.
throwing flowers at. Ah!
Okay.
What's happening?
But we're doing the Daredevil movie review coming soon. It's going to be this panel, man. I'm
I'm
telling
here for
Delaney
it.
and Brooks that they.
I'm in.
I and Delaney would be like, "You're good, dude. I don't want to be there, right?" I'll be like,
And then can we do the graphic novel adaptation of the movie Elektra and read that one?
Oh my god!
like the graphic
Don't put
novel
that evil
of
on
the
us.
movie adaptation of Elektra.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because then I wouldn't at least I wouldn't have to reread or rewatch the movie.
Oh.
That movie sucks, man. Anyway, where are we at? What are we doing? We're talking about
Power Fantasy, a book
The
you don't
greatest
read.
book on
Power
stands.
Fantasy.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't read Power Fantasy, and but I will read it, and I'll probably do a video about it. Greg, you probably don't read it either, right?
Absolutely.
We
not.
read the first book though, and we liked it.
We did, yeah, it was, but then you bailed on our plan.
I
And
bailed, and Greg
Yeah, you ruined
stood
it.
with me in solidarity, and
So let me know when you're done being a Marvel shill, and I will pick up the trade and I will read alongside you.
just wait. I can't wait to hear their reaction when me and you put it on our best of the year list at the end of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah. But here's the thing, Greg. How many
Swear to
times are you going to
God.
be able to use?
Swear to
Robbie
God.
as the
Swear to
excuse,
God.
though?
How many times am I gonna what?
How
A
many
book
times
I've
are you
been a
gonna be
fan
able
of
to-
since day one.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you can't use Robbie as the excuse every single month, though. How long are you going to stand on that one?
I'm gonna stand on it till he reads it. This is a bit now. I'm committed to
So
the
whack.
bit, bro.
This is
Like
so
a
whack.
good comedian sticks with the bit, and
Yeah.
I'm sticking with the bit.
That's
So-
one of the tenets of pop culture philosophers is you commit to the bit.
Commit
Yeah,
to
It
the
and
bit.
here's
sounds
the deal- here's the
spiteful, though.
deal,
You're
Eric.
putting like Marvel runs in front of it. It sounds spiteful.
What
I am
know.
so
wait for
sorry
is-
that I'm
very
trying to
intentional.
understand why Al Ewing is loved and respected amongst Marbleheads. Okay, I'm so
what I love
sorry.
is once we do review it and we like it, then Eric's just gonna like make a whole montage of us going, "We don't like this. We aren't reading this. Why did I read?"
I mean,
The shit
honestly, when I
posting will
first
be
read the
epic.
first issue or two, I thought it was boring as fuck, dude. But then when I reread it, like in the first like trade,
That's what
I liked it.
happens.
Yeah, I
That's
liked
the-
it.
What's gonna happen when I have reach out to Gil and I'm like, "Hey, you want to be on my show? I'll interview you." So we can talk about Power Fantasy.
Don't worry, man. We'll get Al Ewing on my show, man. That's what we'll do. We'll do it. We'll set it up at the same time when they're doing their little conversation with Gillen, their little fucking glaze fest over there.
Uh-huh.
We'll bring Al Ewing in. And I'll ask him the tough questions, like, "Hey, man, why did you block me on Twitter like fucking 5-6 years ago?" Like, I think that started like an uneasy relationship between me and you. But anyway, Stu, I know you got thoughts on Power Fantasy because you actually read it and liked the book. So why don't you talk about it? All jokes aside, man.
Yeah, I loved it. It was an incredible end cap to the run. Just one of the best, like most enlightening superhero books on the stands, man. And Caspar Wingard is doing some career best work in it. You know, it's just the ideas they're playing with, the characters they've established, the whole like bait and switch that we got in this last issue. I mean, it's the only book I am reading with a bated breath and like turning the page ever so slightly every time a new issue comes out. I mean, it has that much weight and an impact for me. Like it's my number one most anticipated new issue week to week. So it sucks that we're taking a break now. There's a little bit of ambiguity. I know it'll be back, but regardless, man, it's just been an incredible ride through and through. Can't recommend it enough. I know y'all are doing the bit, but like, you need to read this one. It's like one of the best, the very, very best things out there, and I think it's one of Gillen's best pieces of writing. So that's all I can say, man. It's incredible. Power fantasy.
Greg,
Y'all
I don't
pick it
think
up.
they realize that their reaction to the bit is what makes the bit work.
That makes the bit work. And speaking of
playing
the
anyway.
bit
Look,
working,
you just said the same thing he did. I mean, come on.
Nick bailed on the bit. Nick bailed on the bit.
The
Nick
bit
was
is
a part
like
of the
it's like
bit.
taking NyQuil,
He
guys.
bailed
It's
on it.
tired. It's tired.
No shit, man. I love how like I can go out drinking with all my homies and we can all be hanging out, drink, and make it home, be safe, all that shit. I take one little shot of NyQuil and within 20 fucking minutes, dude, wherever the fuck I'm at, I'm out, dude.
That's the
I'm
best.
out. That's the real shit right there, dude. I remember when I worked at a grocery store and they'd be like, the first time they were like, "Hey, Robbie, somebody's drinking fucking mouthwash. You got to go tell them to leave." Right? It'd be like that, or NyQuil. They like, oh, yeah, whatever. Alcoholic, unhomed people. Good pick, E. Power fantasy love. We love it. Nick, what about you, man? What's your next pick?
I'm gonna go with man. There's a lot of like decent books left. Let me go with another one that just came out because it's the conclusion of the series. I love it when these three guys get together and they create this series in particular. Batman Second Night. We had issue number 3 coming out this past week. It really blew me away, and like it doesn't do anything I haven't really seen before, but just like the damn vibe of that book, like the execution of it. Perkins and Spicer teaming up to do the interiors and just the coloring alone, the aesthetic, the world building, the character design. The book is beautiful. Like the liberties they take with the costumes. Obviously, it's like it's more year 1, year 2, whatever it might be, kind of thing. A lot of practical gadgets. The heroes and the villains aren't perfect. Like they have plans, but they mess up constantly. So like they feel more down to earth and they feel more real. Like Batman will sneak up on the Scarecrow in this one, and the Scarecrow's like on a phone call, like giving away all the information. He's like, "Oh crap, how are you here?" You know what I mean? Like he didn't plan for everything. These little nuances are great. It also helps answer the question of like, or at least it touches on the topic of when bad shit's going down over in Gotham, like where is Superman? Like it touches on that kind of stuff too. Not only that though, it touches on like, why hasn't Superman stopped world wars if he could? If he's around, he could see this coming. Why doesn't he step in and take care of like global issues? And we touch on that a little bit, like in some of the movies and whatnot too, but it's cool to have a moment like that in the comics as well, because they're meeting each other for the first time. They're feeling each other out. They're understanding each other's motives and rationale and stuff.
Especially set during World War II, right?
Right. So, I mean, it was really, really great. They did a great job of blending in real world stuff into this book. They had characters that felt natural for the reason why they were there felt natural. Like Scarecrow was like a disgraced chemist or whatever it was. And like, that's where his toxin comes from. And he's turning his back on the world and he's using it to like, take over and spread fear because he was denied, all of his accolades and whatnot. So like, I loved all the motivation, the characters. I loved the voice of all the characters too. It was done so well. And the first volume of this is just as spectacular. Has a little bit of a sci-fi like monster element to it. And then this one's more focused on Scarecrow and some other folks. And then we get Superman thrown in. I think they did a really good job of this one. Batman's really popular right now, obviously, and always has been, but this might be a book that's not quite on people's radar. It's that treasury size, it's a little bit different, but I highly recommend checking it out because Dan Jurgens and Perkins and Spicer did some amazing work in the first volume and the second volume here.
I agree 100%. I remember some of these people going nuts over the first one, just over purple gloves, man, right? And I wasn't fully sold on the first volume, but by the end of it, I did like it. I think I've never been unsold on Second Night. I've loved it the entirety of its duration, all 3 issues. I love this wrap up. I love their interpretation of the Scarecrow. It's almost like, what if the Tim Burton Batman movies were based on Golden Age Batman? It almost feels like that in a way without really diving into big villains, because we haven't really done that yet, right? And I'm really hoping for a third night where I don't want them to go the Robin route yet. I just want to see Joker now, right? Like I think we could build but they could honestly do third night, second, like fourth night, fifth. I don't care, because if it's Perkins and Spicer, dude, that artwork is so gorgeous. Anything they do together, 100%. And it might be the best written Dan Jurgens comic in 10 years.
It's
I would
tight.
say
Yeah,
that.
it's really good.
I would say that. Greg, you got thoughts?
Typically I would. I forgot to grab this because my store has the oversized issues, not with the DC books because they're oversized issues. So I just forgot to grab it. So it's waiting for me in my store.
It's good.
I've loved the series. Mike Perkins' art is. I will buy any book that comes out now with Mike Perkins' art on it. Like
Of
it
course,
is,
especially with Spicer.
yeah, it's so good. And so the just like to explore this world that they've been with the first volume and now this one so far, it's something that I've adored. So it's been great.
Yeah, and I love the usage of Superman, like Golden Age Superman in it too, and it's so cool. I love it. Like the way they interact with each other is really clever, and they're like one of my favorite moments. I love Batman and Superman and their like dynamic and relationship, but in the early years is like my favorite because it's still like it's not the respect's not quite there yet, right? There's like this fearful respect of the other, but there's also this like I don't know, almost like a I don't know what's the word. It escapes me, but almost like a competition between the two, like a dick measuring contest or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I really, really like that. In fact, the animated series back in the 90s did it so well. There were 3 episodes of Superman that are connected together as Superman Batman World's Finest, and it's awesome. It's the first.
Is that where they switch? Is that where they switch places to trick Lex Luthor?
No, that's later on, I think. Right? Maybe, but it's the one with Joker teams up with Lex.
Okay.
And there's the big giant smiling. Anyway, it's really good. It's the first meeting of the Bruce Timm Batman and Superman. It's really, really, really freaking cool. Stu, what did you think?
Haven't read this volume, so I had the hardcover of volume 1, and I was trade waiting this one. But you know, I don't want to. I feel like I'm selling it short because I haven't read it because I just love this this world so much. And like Nick said, it's refreshing to have a Batman with limitations. You know, I think this world does a really great job of rendering that. And again, man, Perkins and Spicer is magic. So yeah, highly recommend this one. But again, I'm just trade waiting on the hardcover to throw it up there next to volume 1.
Another thing, Perkins uses that format very well visually.
Yes,
like,
he does.
It uses that format very well. And if you love Perkins and Spicer, y'all, we're getting Romvee, Perkins, and Spicer hardcover of Swamp Thing, their entirety of that run. So I'm really
time, dude.
Like 16 issues or 17 issues, something like that, right?
Yeah,
with the annual or whatever.
So pumped. Eric, what about you? What do you think about Second Night?
I think I wish I would have read this. I read the first issue of the second series. I finished the first series too, but yeah, much like Stu, I think I was just trade waiting it in a world where there's like 17 Batman books that we gotta try to make sure that we read because Batman is
that are all good. You mean?
Yeah, it's the hottest character ever. Yeah, I'm not talking smack.
I mean, you were focused on dark patterns. You had to keep up with the fraction stuff. I understand.
Year 1,
Batman and Robin, year 1.
So much good Batman.
Exactly. So this
now
is
that Power Fantasy is gone, maybe you got room in your pool for one more measly Batman book, right? They really need the help.
Don't do that.
They really need the help.
Yeah, but I'm excited to read it though. I've liked everything that has come out from this team in this in the first volume and the first issue that I read. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, thanks, Simpleton.
Yeah, I love that it has the future state issues as well. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
That's very complete, right? That's basically
so cool. I'm so
basically an
happy they're
omnibus,
doing
right?
that.
It's like the whole
probably
shebang.
It's $100, so $100 MSRP. So
I'm getting it though, man.
Hell yeah!
And I'm really, after having that talk with Bissett, I'm really considering getting the absolute Swamp Things. But I'm still kind of on the fence about that.
Dude, and we're getting the Rick Veitch re-releases.
So pumped! I'm just so happy they're finally available in trade. I don't have those single issues, so now I got volume 1 and 2, and I'm just waiting for 3, man.
Hell
I'm just
yeah,
waiting
bro.
for 3. Dude.
Cannot wait.
Like I guess I won't read it as it comes out because I've never read the entirety of that run. But anyway, I digress. What were you talking about? We're talking about Second Night. Nick,
Yep.
Got any thoughts?
Yeah, it was my book.
It was your book. Never mind.
He had.
I thought it was pretty good.
I've not messed up the order. At least I've not messed up the order. So
you got it, man.
All right, it's my pick now.
Yes.
Okay, sweet, man. This is one I have with me. How about Universal Monsters Phantom of the Opera, issue number 1? First of all, there's some other books I could have picked, but I'm going to go with this one because I'm a mark for the Universal Monsters. I love them. Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorite stories. I love the novel by Gaston Leroux, right? I think is how you pronounce that name. I also love all of the movie and musical and stage productions of Phantom of the Opera. In fact, not too long ago, I was hanging out with my girlfriend and her daughter, and I introduced her daughter to Phantom of the Opera, the Gerard Butler one that Joel Schumacher directed, just so that she could like kind of have a sense of what the musical Phantom of the Opera was like. And as I was doing that, I looked at my Blu-rays as I was picking it out, and I was like, holy crap. And I looked at everything, and it is literally the most I have of one story being adapted over and over again. I have more copies of Phantom of the Opera than anything, right? Because that movie and that story is just so there. And one of the underappreciated adaptations of Phantom of the Opera into film is the Claude Rains-led 1943 Phantom of the Opera, which was big and majestic and in color. It was a big deal for Universal at the time. Claude Rains delivers a brilliant performance, but it doesn't have the grit and visceral horror of the Lon Chaney silent film, right? What this book does is it's by Tyler Boss, who is the writer. It is a retelling of Phantom of the Opera, but the Claude Rains version. But because we have the artwork from someone like Martin Simmons, we're getting that visceral horror, grit, and tooth to it. I thought this book was brilliant. I thought it was awesome. I'm a mark. That's one of the reasons why I loved it so much. But I think that this was, so many of these other Universal Monster movies have been prequels or sequels or movies or tales within the tale. This one is just straight up an adaptation, but with a different edge to it, more toothy, right? More visceral. And I really, really appreciate that. Greg, did you check this one out?
I did. I've been hit or miss on the Universal Monster books. I'm a big fan of Tyler Boss. Love Martin Simmons' art. And man, I'm a musical junkie. Like, I love a good musical. Like, and so Phantom of the Opera, comic books, and everything you just said, like, when I picked it up, I was like, all right, what are they going to do? Because I didn't really read the solicits of, like, is it going to be an adaptation, or is it going to be like the Frankenstein where it's in between the scenes or something, you know, or like the Dracula.
Yeah.
And this hit, and the Martin's artwork, it just adds a vibe of unease and like horror element to it, which I think is just perfect for this book with the suspense of everything that goes on. I think this is an underrated character a lot of times, and it worked really well for me, and I'm loving to get this in this form of comic books that I love. And, you know, I even like, there's, I think, like right at the end, they say, like, you know, the angel and darkness. I was like about to break in the song, right? And it's great. So
I'm your angel of music, right? I did.
Yeah.
I could hear the organ, right? And
you can feel, you can sense it, and it was so good.
Yeah, because music is a part of this story, whether it's the original Gaston Leroux like novel, or whether it's those Lon Chaney or the Claude Rains versions, or hell yeah, Brian De Palma, Phantom of the Paradise, right? Something like that, right? Or the Andrew Lloyd Webber stuff, right? Music's such a part of this. So when Christine is singing, how do you convey that in a comic book? Usually you would just have the words kind of out there lettered with musical numbers and shit. No, we don't do that at all. We just go to a silent panel where the lights are brightened and someone's singing. And it just adds this neat pace and back and forth. And it makes the music really sell for me, because the music is like you piece it together yourself. Stu, did you read this one?
Did you read the back matter at all? I don't.
Yeah, this dude loves this movie.
Yeah, and like his love, like with the Goosebumps, the Phantom of the Auditorium. I was just like, yep, Tyler's the right person for this book. Sorry, Stu, I couldn't.
Yep.
No, you're good, dude. Yeah, this one didn't connect. I don't know if it was like my vagueness with the property, but like, man, coming off of Invisible Man and like the high that was, I had high hopes for this, especially with Martin's work on Dracula. But I felt like his work on Dracula versus his work here is like, I don't know, man. It's a big goal for me, and some of those like big dramatic moments, like that shot that you shared at the beginning, like with her kind of like hanging behind the stage curtain, just the way that was like paced and presented, it wasn't like, I guess, as impactful for me as I wanted it to be, I guess, in reading it and rereading it. But I don't know, there was something there that like I wanted to get and I wanted to feel, but like this one, I guess I can't decide if it's like my kind of, I've seen the musical before, like grew up loving musicals, watched a ton with my mom, so like it's not I'm not unfamiliar in that aspect. But this one, like this versus what he and Tinian did on Dracula, it just feels like I don't know, it feels like a bit of a fall off. And like I love Simmons' artwork, but this one just, I don't know, this one didn't connect with me story and art wise, and I was left a little disappointed.
I think that's fair. When I first read it, I got to read it and issue number 2 like a couple months ago after like a retailer call or something, and I kind of had that same vibe. But then when I sat down and read it this time, it just really worked for me for some reason. Like it just really did, and it's because of Martin. Martin's providing an atmosphere to that story that I don't typically see in that story in any version. Like as horrifying as the story could be, no version to me, aside from the original Lon Chaney one, really dives into the horror element of it. But that's a pretty hard to access and challenging movie for a lot of people because it's a silent film and it loses a lot of people's interest. But I love in particular, the Claude Rains version of this movie. And I love that that's the one they're going with. That's like, I don't know, like it means so much to me for some reason. It even has the same color palette as that movie. And it has like crazy greens and reds in that fucking movie, dude. It's nuts,
Bro,
man.
Claude
It's
Rains is the GOAT though, man.
Oh, dude, that voice.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So this is
one of the best of his generation.
This is 2 back-to-back Claude Rains Skybound Universal Monster.
Right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But that's the thing, like Invisible Man, I could hear his voice. This one, not so much, but that's just me.
Okay. What about, I keep hearing Gerard Butler. What about you, Eric? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you said that you had a similar experience and that the reread maybe has a different effect, because I think that's maybe where I am too. Like I had a similar reaction to it as Stu did. And so here's the weird thing, like Simmons' artwork is glorious, right? I think we all can agree that it's something different than we get from traditional comics nowadays, and really he gets to explore things that, you know, we just don't see all that often. And it works really well in things like Department of Truth, and it's worked really well in things like the Dracula miniseries and so on and so forth, right? And where I think this was ineffective for me was really it being the comic book medium, because I feel like what was missing in this that I get from other things is like, let's look at Department of Truth as an example. There's still panel work that's happening there, right? And it's jagged, right? And he's definitely like playing with the idea of what a panel is, but everything's felt so ethereal in this, and it was meant to a little bit, right? But I also think that it took away from the experience as a comic book itself, because like it wasn't like the most challenging book that I read, but it was a little bit challenging, like who's talking right now and who is it that's saying these, like it was a really hard follow for me throughout the story. And maybe it's just only because I have a little bit of background with the actual story of Phantom of the Opera. I'm not like, you know, an aficionado, so maybe that's where it's my failing as well. But something just didn't hit here, and it was like the artwork that I kept pinning back to. Is this the antithesis to everything I said?
No, I'm just saying. I mean, that's a great page. I mean, I get what you're saying too, man. I understand. I get a little bit. Man, look at that though, right there. Oh my God. I get what you're saying, man. But like I said, that's why I said I'm a mark for this shit already, right? Like, just Martin doing this book, man. If it was Danny Earls, I would have a different opinion, I'm sure, man. But I agree. I understand exactly what you were saying and what Stu were saying, because this was kind of my first opinion on it. What about you, Nick?
So I have a love-hate relationship with this property in general, and I'll tell you why. So growing up in Western New York, one of the big things you get to do when you're in 6th grade is go to Toronto. You bust to Toronto and you watch this in Toronto. And I was looking forward to that for years, like 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade again when I failed now. And so then I moved in 6th grade, like 2 months before we can go see this play, to where I am now. And I was like, and I've been so pissed at this property, for no reason at all, no rational reason. So like every time this comes up, I have that love hate, but I actually like the book a lot. I need what I've learned. And if you haven't, and I'm sure you all can attest to this too, but if you're watching this and you're like, yeah, I didn't get Mummy, or yeah, I didn't get Frankenstein, or yeah, Invisible Man was okay. What's imperative is you have to watch these movies, and then you could read these comics. Like if you have no familiarity with the property, you're not going to get as much.
And with
like
the movie in particular, right?
Right.
Like, with that version of the movie in particular.
Yeah. Right. Like if you didn't watch Invisible Man and then you went into the Invisible Man, like you're really cheating yourself. You know what I mean? And that was the case with all these books. So I think the key for me to really love this book is I need to go back and I need to watch that version of this movie. And I already enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the art. I liked what he was doing. I liked the atmosphere and the etherealness of it. Like Eric was talking about, like I liked the ghostliness of this, and I didn't feel lost. I felt like I was connecting, but I know that I'm doing a disservice to myself for not having a really good grasp on this version of the movie. So I need to go and rewatch that before issue number 2, so I can be really locked in for it. But that's my biggest advice for anybody watching these or reading these Universal Monster books. Go back and watch the original movies, and you're going to love these books way better.
I think doing that with the 1943 Phantom in particular will work, because Universal saw Phantom as their like Gone with the Wind, their Wizard of Oz, like their big sweeping epic film, right? That's what the Lon Chaney version was. They didn't view it necessarily as a horror film, but as big and sweeping with the biggest set. That Opera House set from the Lon Chaney one was like the biggest set ever constructed. That set stood for years and years and years. They filmed the 43 one in that set. So in order to take that glitz and glamour and grandiosity of that, but then apply the horror vibe to it, that's what I love so much about this book, man.
Yep.
So yeah, I think if you have that juxtaposition between the movie and this, you see what the book is adding to that particular version of the story.
Now I just want Lil and Nick to be able to go see Phantom of the Opera. Like that's like my big.
Thanks,
I know, right? Damn, that was tragic, bro. Get that field trip in, dog.
Tragic story right there. Like
I've never seen that either, man.
Becomes the Phantom of the Opera.
Get you up to Toronto, bro.
Because he never got to see it.
It was some Wizard of Oz bullshit I saw, man, back in elementary school, and it was down in Birmingham, so it wasn't even.
I'll get
Toronto. Fuck, dude. Longest bus ride I ever took was to San Antonio. That was like a 22-hour bus ride. That was pretty fun though. But I was in high school. Everything like that's fun in high school. Nowadays, there ain't no way I could sit on a bus for 22 fucking hours, man.
Yeah, that's
ain't no way. Yeah. Ain't no way, dude. But I had just bought that Savage Garden CD, the one with I Want You and all that shit, dude. So like I had my Walkman, man. It was nice, man. It's good. My Discman, my bad. My Discman.
Yeah, you're
I just had it.
Anti-skip.
All right. Time for the best of the rest. It's time for rapid fire. Greg, what you got?
Let's go with some obscure ones we haven't talked about. We'll stick with Mad Cave. Barbarian Behind Bars. I really like this from Elliot Kalin. Concept of like Highlander, Barbarian, Conan guys fighting in New York, and then once the battle ends, like he gets arrested and like can't speak the language, has no like. I just love that concept of fish out of the water of like you see these types of movies take place, and then like what would actually happen in the real world to that. That was a lot of fun for me. Ignition Press, Just Brutal, issue number 1. Dennis Hopeless.
Yes.
The family vibe of they present it like the dad is like a deadbeat dad, who's left the family, and he's basically a superhero and is like trying to stop violence and villainy, and then and the family's all part of it. Like it just is like if you take like slice of life comic, mix it with like superheroes, that's what you get. And I thought it was great. Wrestle Heist continues to be one of my favorite books. It's so good. It's so much fun. I love Kyle Stark's artwork on this. I love the whole behind the scenes of the wrestling aspect that you get of the love letter to professional wrestling but also I'm a sucker for a heist book, so like this just works for me. And I'll go with Death Fight Forever. This was another one that was a lot of fun,
Yes.
from Image Comics. The setup's great. I think for me, it was like I just wanted a little bit more story, and I would have put it up higher on my list. It was a very quick read, and so I wanted more, but I really like that.
Hell yeah, man. Great rapid fire. Stu, we're about to get to you, but before you do this, you're about to jump over for the Scabathon over at Blood Splatter Chatter. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, man. Scream 6. We're talking the latest, well, as of today, tomorrow, or / midnight tonight, Scream 7 drops. So, but yeah, the Stabathon, we've covered all the Screams over on Blood Splatter Chatter. We're covering the most recent one here in just a few minutes, so come check us out.
Hell yeah. Now, how about your rapid fire? By the way, I like Scream 6, man. It's like Ghostface Takes Manhattan. Really good
Indeed, dude. Indeed. Hell yeah. It's
and
cool
my
to see
favorite shit. Who gives a fuck about the movie? Like, I love
yeah.
that, dude.
It's cool to see him kill with a shotgun, switch it up a little bit.
Hell yeah.
All right, for me, I'm gonna go Geiger 21, the Time Tank. Just one of those super dope issues of Geiger where we get some world building. We connect some dots, we dot some I's, we cross some T's and all that good stuff. But it's just cool to see what's going on in the past, present, and future in that world. I love that one. Gary Frank, of course, killing it. Absolute Batman, number 17, the debut of Poison Ivy. I think we're getting a new character debut in every other issue of this book. But man, Canetti did the goddamn thing in this one. Top to bottom, the absolute horror we got with this character when it's all said and done was astounding. So tips of the hat to him. I can't wait to see what he does in the other issue that he's got. But you look at a book that's really got the blueprint of substitute artists nailed down to a T. I think it's absolute Batman. I don't think anybody's doing it better on a consistent long-term basis than they are. Absolute Wonder Woman, number 17. We covered the annual. Number 17 was incredible, though. The fight against the Suicide Squad. Diana yeeting Giganta across the room, the giant tussle we had, the throwdown. Million different moments in that book that were incredible. And then finally, Ultimates number 21, the Revolutionary Manual. I just love the juxtaposition that was addressed there, the cognitive dissonance that we see in a lot of our superheroes. We don't care what they represent; it's all vague and so on and so forth. I just thought this issue did such a great job in kind of smashing that barrier. And this book has been a revolutionary manual for quite a while. So it was cool to see continue that theme in issue 21. But that's it.
Oh
for
yeah.
me.
Great rapid fire, and we just found out that
man.
me and Greg are the only modern WWE fans on the panel. So that was nice. You said yeeting, and me and Greg went one way.
Oh yeah.
Elimination Chamber on Saturday.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. Elimination Chamber on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
It's very predictable. Elimination Chamber. Tiffy, Cody, CM Punk, Becky. There's my picks. What's in the box? I want it to be Chris Jericho, but it's not. I hope it's, in fact, 9-panel grid. I hope you are the one in the crate that's going to make their debut in the WWE on Saturday night at the Elimination Chamber. But if not, or if so, let us know your rapid fire before you go.
Well, I would never spoil it here. It's got to be a surprise when it does happen, if it does happen. Let's see here. Let's start off. This was an emotional month for me. All of my top picks, I feel like it was something that triggered something in me. So I'm going to start with DCKO Night Fight, the finale of it. I had a heck of a time with this Batman book, man. The emotional resonance behind a old man Bruce character, getting to kind of see a Gotham that has been made whole and seeing the lineage of his family, truly his family, and having to leave that behind to re-enter the big dumb fun that is DCKO. That definitely worked for me. Let's see here. Okay, I'll die on this hill. I thought the finale of Ultimate Spider-Man totally worked. And I love the fact that it was divorced from everything else that was happening in the Ultimate Endgame. Whatever the end of this Ultimate stuff is, I'm just happy we get to put a bow on everything that was Ben and Jonah, that was everything with Richard and Felicia, with Harry and Peter. I thought it worked out really well, and I thought it really worked well as a finale, and will probably read pretty good as a series altogether. Dang it, that's a Marvel pick. All right, you can tally that for me. Let's go with Is Ted Okay? I thought that this was a really great first issue from Dave Chisholm. I believe this is another Mad Cave book here that gets to toy. It's on brand for this guy. I feel like he toys with the ideas of creativity and just like, I don't know. He's plays with big ideas in a really fantastic way with a really unique and awesome art style that I really appreciate. That's a really good one to seek out from this week's worth of comics. And I'll finish off with our Soot-Stained Heart, the book that I don't know if anyone understands, but I feel like there's a little bit more clarity here, but it looks glorious from Stephen Morian. But it's a kind of cool toying with of the mythology of the Santa Claus character in this Russian revolutionary kind of era time frame. I don't know. I like what I'm getting, and I think I know why more so, at least with this issue. But those are my picks.
All right, right. I like you standing by your guns on Ultimate Spider-Man. In fact, I'm about to do a reread of Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man all together in one chunk just to see how it flows as a story. And I'm going to do that before I read Power Fantasy. Just
Yeah,
as you know,
that's
Eric.
all that
have we seen the full transformation of Marvel Shill of I'm gonna do all these Marvel books? Like,
I believe we have, yeah.
It's been telling.
It started as a joke today, but we have seen Robbie has fully embraced his Marvel.
You just wait till
lifestyle.
rapid fire, baby. You just wait. Nick, what you got for rapid fire?
Conan the Barbarian, issue number 29. That issue was freaking solid, man. Zub and team are doing an amazing job on that, just introducing some new characters, some new lore, some new things to worry about. Really enjoyed that one from this week. We talked about Dennis Camp already, but Bleeding Hearts, man. Bleeding Hearts is a pretty solid book. I really enjoyed that one. It had a lot of, pun intended, heart to it. I'm excited to see how it evolves and where it goes from there. There's a lot of cool places it could go. So interested in that. Great interior artwork too. Incredible and pretty anatomically correct as well. So that's pretty interesting. Die Loaded was a really fun book this past month, issue number 4. We are being kind of introduced to a character that's very reminiscent of another character. He's the asshole of the group, and he's the fool. And it's really cool to see this character come back and kind of be his own thing on top of that. So that's really cool as we're building out the team a little bit more. And I'll also include, I'm going to include this book because good on you, Marvel. Alien vs. Captain America. That book didn't suck.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome.
There you go. That's the best review you could possibly get. It didn't suck, and it had an opportunity.
I wish Marvel had the cojones to put that as a poll quote. It didn't suck. Like, I would buy so many copies of it just of if they did that of like Nick from Comic Culture says.
Yeah,
it didn't
suck. You know what? They had every chance to blow that book, man, and they did a pretty good job. They had 2 endings. They could have not done the second ending, but overall, that story was really solid. I thought it wasn't airtight, but it was pretty good. I liked it a lot. And I'm going to end with Escape the Dead Zone, Godzilla. Man, we finished that that arc.
Yeah,
it's got a nice little ease into volume number 2 potential there. Crazy good interior artwork. A lot of great action in that book. A lot of great scale, like we said. It's a Godzilla book, but the Godzilla's not even in it till the last issue. And when he is, he just kind of wrecks shit, right? But it's not about him. It's about everything else in the world that has been built around his crazy radiation and stuff. So I had a really good time with that book. Fought through issue number 1, but man, I loved it as it got through the next 5 issues. So I'll cap it right there.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, man. That one, that's my favorite out of the Godzilla Kai-Sai.
Oh,
or
for sure.
Kaisei era or whatever, right?
Yeah.
All right, for my rapid fire, Batman number 6. Date Night last month was great. How about Long Night? A direct follow-up. Date Night, Long Night. Such a great crafted issue. Matt Fraction is writing to the strengths of Jorge Jimenez. And I have read the next issue, which comes out next week.
Is that the Joker issue?
That's the Joker issue. Everybody's going to flip out. I read it like a month ago. Like they had a PDF available for FOC. It's awesome. I cannot wait to reread it. Archie, Army of Darkness number 1 from our friends over at Dynamite. That book was really good, dude. It's the style of Archie and the style of Army of Darkness perfectly blended together. it harkens back to the legacy that was established by such classics like Archie meets the Punisher. It's the vibe we're getting here, man. Archie does some of the weirdest crossovers, and this one is really good. Transformers number 20. What's that?
Who's the team on that?
Eric Burnham is the writer, but I cannot place the artist. But it is all in a Archie Dan Parent type style.
Yeah, they did the Archie Minor Threats crossover, and the art when that was great. So
yeah, and I had Eric on the channel. He mentioned he kind of had a slightly fight for that. Like they wanted to do it in a more traditional comic book Army of Darkness type style. He was like, no, it's got to look like an Archie book. And it's perfect. Basically, the Archie gang finds the Necronomicon, and Ash has been transferred to the S. Martin Riverdale. So there you go. It's pretty dope. Transformers number 29. Dan Mora artwork is insane. The story is insane. The best of the 80s meets the best of exciting, boisterous, bombastic comics today. That book was gnarly. So was G.I. Joe number 19. Hound has been revealed as maybe the newest G.I. Joe. Duke has some thoughts about that. I loved that issue. How about Spirit of the Shadows number 2? Thought that book was really great. I actually thought it improved on issue number 1 by clarifying bits of the story, but also deepening the mystery, and that psychedelic Ditko-esque artwork by Nick Cagnetti is absolutely solid. Now let's do some Marvel shilling. How about Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant, issue number 1? Moreira is back doing Storm, and I could not be happier. This is a high concept book that is way better than it should actually be. How about Mortal Thor, issue number 7? An incredibly awesome action sequence written by Al Ewing. Didn't think that was possible, but also the Pascal Ferry artwork. Absolutely splendid. I'm digging Mortal Thor. How about Hulk Smash Everything, issue number 3? That book was awesome. It's written by Ryan North. And I read the first issue of this and I was about to quit. And somebody on my channel said, please read issue number 2. Issue number 2 was Hulk versus the asteroid that ended the existence of the dinosaurs. How do we top that? How about issue number 3 is Hulk versus Galactus and Hulk versus a supermassive black hole. I have so much fun with this book. It's just explosive and it's so much fun. And I'll wrap up my rapid fire with another Marvel Shield moment. Infernal Hulk, issue number 4. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Nick Klein, Hulkscape issue. It's one of the best. It is the best Marvel comic of the month and one of the best comics on shelves. So that's my rapid fire. That's what we got. Nick,
we are all in agreement that this episode counts for a mark, at least one for Robbie.
Robbie, you just secured. We're doing a rapid fire shill for sure. That's rapid fire.
Like we didn't last year do the Marvel. We didn't do the rapid fire, but
we're gonna.
Oh, now everybody wants to do the rapid fire. Huh?
Well, even if we don't do the rapid fire, like this should secure the spot for you because you said Marvel more times than I've had to say Amelia Bedelia when I read one of those books to my girls. So
I've been more impressed with Marvel this month.
I feel like Robbie is like he's dying for our Marvel sins right now. He's the one sacrificing himself, and I appreciate him for it.
Yeah, let me know how Death Spiral goes.
I can talk about Iron Man next month. Probably now.
Did I mention Death Spiral tonight, jackass? Did I mention it? No. But in my review, I actually said I was not looking forward to this, but you know what? It's not that bad. It's kind of a well-crafted.
You know what? You probably could say it didn't suck.
It didn't suck. But I'm not saying the whole event's not gonna suck. I'm not saying that. But anyway, maybe after getting through Age of Revelation, some other books from Marvel seem a lot better now. Right? Yeah. I read every Age of Revelation book, y'all. And I'm still here. I'm still standing.
I'm glad Robbie's reading Captain America after the crap he gave me for picking issue 1.
I have to. I still have some of those same issues, but you're right. It does dive a little bit deeper.
Thank you.
Zdarsky is better at Marvel than he is at DC. I'll tell you that 100%. Because Avengers Twilight was great, but his Batman run,
Daredevil was good.
His Daredevil run was great. His Marvel 2-in-1 was great. So there you go. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and Wolverine Weapons of Armageddon was okay. I wouldn't put it on this list, but. Anyway, Nick, thank you for being here. Thanks, everybody about yourself. Links in the description. Everybody, go check out these channels. Sub if you haven't already. You should if you love this show because these are some of the best, most astute, most observant and respected comic book reviewers, at least through my eyes. Nick, tell us about yourself. What you got coming up?
Until Comic Pop destroys all of us in the awards. Yeah, so Nick Comic Culture. So yeah, weekly review videos on Saturday nights. I do haul videos. I do FOC videos now. I'm doing my next live Sunday morning for the comic book look ahead. Books we're looking forward to in the month of March. Eric's going to be joining me for that one. So make sure to check us out 9 a.m. Central on Sunday morning. Grab your coffee, grab a donut, and hang out with us in the morning. Talk about some cool books coming up in March. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Of course, always a pleasure. What about you, Eric, man? What you got coming up? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Great, month worth of comics. Great conversation here. Every single Sunday, you can catch my comic book reviews as they're dropping here. Drop a little bit early for members first as well. You can catch hauls. You can catch all kinds of fun stuff over at 9 Panel Grid. Just on Tuesday, though, me and Stu got together for Notes from the Editors, where we went over ICV2's top 20 single issues of 2025, top 20 graphic novels of 2025, and the Comics Pro 2026 reveals that came out. So we had a really good conversation over there. So go check it out, 9 Panel Grid.
Hell yeah. Greg, just so you know, by the way, I haven't liked the last 2 issues of Captain America, just so you know. But
yeah,
maybe on a reread.
I don't. Yeah,
maybe that's the thing. You just got to read it. You know.
Yeah, I don't know if I love this variation right now, but we'll see. So
what you got going on, man?
Same thing as always. I do interviews with comic creators. So every Monday I drop a new interview. I don't usually say if they're not officially done, but I got 2 interviews scheduled for tomorrow. So I'll have Elliot Kalin on, who did the Barbarian book I was talking about, and also is a writer for Harley Quinn right now. And then also interviewing Fred Van Lente. And so talking comics on that. So that's, I mean, my channel has really shifted to just doing comic creator interviews. We also throw in whatever our book of the month is. So if you're interested in joining the Bearded Comic Bro Book Club, you can hop on Discord. We let my members, I let the 10 people who are in the Discord vote on a book. And so we're going to talk Ghost in the Shell. That was one of the people picked that. I've never read it, so I'm looking forward. So if you want to hop in, message me. I'll send you a link to Discord. We just then do a conversation like this about said book, and we do it once a month. We've talked about Far Sector. We talked about Traveling to Mars. Now we're Ghost in the Shell. So who knows what will be next time. And yeah, so that's what I do.
Heck yeah, man. Great stuff coming out from Bearded Comic Bro. That's our homie Greg. Go check out all of these gentlemen's channels. And of course, right now over at Blood Splatter Chatter, go join Stu as they conclude Stabathon with Scream 6, but actually it's not a conclusion because Scream 7 comes out this week. Stu will also be joining the conclusion of Sci-Fi Fest 2026 over at One Collection Down on Friday night with They Live. And then we are kicking off March Madness Monday night on PCP Movie Night with The Dark Half. We are joined by Heroes for Hire Comic Club. Their week 1 debut is American Psycho and One Collection Down with 12 Monkeys. And just bear with me real quick. The rest of the lineup alternating between these 3 channels shows every 8 p.m. Central Time, every day on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday throughout March. We then go to Fade to Black, Serpent and the Rainbow, Falling Down, Martin, The Devil's Rejects, Misery.
I'm on that one.
Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, The Substance, California, and it all ends with the Psycho franchise on PCP Movie Night. There's your lineup right there, celebrating the madness of cinema all throughout March. All right,
The Substance is so weird.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to be on that show. I'll be on The Substance. I'll be on California. And I'll be on all the PCP movie nights. I was going to do Misery, Greg, but that's the same weekend as MegaCon. So I will be out of town and unfortunately not able to talk about that movie. 4.5 you digs, though, just so you know.
All right, I will uphold Rob Reiner Little Love Fest for that movie for you then.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. Nice. Everybody go over to Blood Splatter Chatter, bomb into the chat station, say we love you, and that PCP sent you. We're dipping out. Station,